Like I say, it's just an absolute chore to get this one done. On.
Oh, uh, before you started, I did want to ask. This is a question I asked previously on the Discord itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the novella anthology that I'm putting together, I've been racking my brain trying to decide on one of two possible names for the book, and want to know what you guys' opinions were on which one sounded the best because I've been asking around. One name would be Primal Warrior Draco Azul Full Metal Chronicles,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
and the other is Primal Warrior Draco Azul Heavy Metal Chronicles.
I like that one.
You can't
Heavy
go wrong
metal.
with heavy metal.
Uh,
Hmm.
I wish you'd said before going streaming because we've actually just started streaming, dude. Sorry, that's a slip of the
Oh,
finger from me.
You could have told me.
I was trying to get there, but
we're talking about things that don't exist, people. Shh. Keep
Well,
quiet.
we can leave it to the audience to decide what is the better title, and I'll put it under consideration.
Keep it as vague as possible.
yeah. Thank you for being somewhat patient with us this evening, folks. Stephen, I've had to delay Mission 26 until tomorrow because the render was taking forever, and Kaiju advised me, even with the power that my PC's got, OBS and Vegas at the same time would have put a massive strain on the CPU. So, I don't want to delay the season 3 finale any further than I have to, but unfortunately, it's being delayed till tomorrow at the very earliest. So, you know, I've tried to get it done as best as possible, but it's been one of those challenges. And considering yesterday's episode, The Long Reach Part 2, is, until further notice, the very last episode of Thunderbirds Are Go, I decided to put a few little extras and whatnot into it, and there's a couple of things in there where I'm actually thanking the audience. So it's a partial spoiler, but um, you know, it's one of those. I'm going to be rendering this as soon as the live stream goes off the air, just so I can get this up for no earlier than 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, because one of the things that TubeBuddy advises when you're doing scheduling, look at the demographic, i.e., where your videos are most popular, which at the moment is the UK. They always advise release your videos at 6 a.m. in the morning. I don't know why they advise that, but they're experts and I'm not, so Stephen also goes on to say, well, people are asking for season 4. The movement has started. Now, I'm not one of those people that likes to toot his own horn and put himself up on a perch, but I kind of got that hashtag started with hashtag we want TAG season 4. Because, for context for those not in the know, the character of Jeff Tracy has only just come back into the fray, but it's within the last 2 episodes. And I feel like with this version, there could be more that could be made out of him. Only because I actually like Lee Major's take on the character. It's very different from what we've heard with Peter Dineley, who was the original voice actor for Jeff in the original series and the 2 movies that accompanied said series in the late 60s. And, it's also somewhat complimentary of what Bill Paxton tried to do for the 2004 movie. I mean, I cursed that movie from dusk till dawn, but I liked Bill's performance in there. I thought he was a very competent version of Jeff. I mean, Lids, Raiden, you've both seen that movie. I mean, Bill seemed to be like the only one in there who was trying.
He was
from Dusk Till Dawn.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Are you talking about the movie that had
still?
And are you talking about the movie with Antonio Banderas and what was it, Tarantino?
No. It was I was trying to say a play on words.
Oh, okay.
Actually, From Dusk Till Dawn's not a bad movie.
No, not at all. I was gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Desperado, wrong one.
Dusk Till Dawn, that's easily one of the best vampire movie. I like the one line, the exchange between Salma Hayek to George Clooney, where she goes, "I'm about to make your life a living hell," and he goes, "No thanks, I've already been married." I'm like, oh!
Oh my god. And I love the little ending where it's like, I know spoilers for a movie that's been out for years, but the fact that it was built on top of a Mayan temple, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm gonna get this one out of the way. This is one of the very few. This is one of the very first topics, and Dan was kind of asking, how are your friends at SKL going to react to the news regarding the induction of the Bella Twins to the WWE Hall of Fame? Now, we've already had Oni's reaction. I'm just going to bring up.
That's putting it mildly.
I'm just going to go find Oni's video a moment. Let me find it.
Read. Oh god, he's gonna be at work and watch it like, I hate you all.
I love you too, Oni. Would you like some cheesy poofs?
Oh god, why?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Oni, if you ever check this out, I'm sorry, but I watched this 3-4 times. You have made me laugh so hard with your reaction.
Evil, but I get it. Not gonna lie, I watched that thing maybe 5 times myself. So
I'm about to. Right, hang on. I gotta get this. No, pause it, damn it! Just for context, Kaiju. Oni's not a fan of Nikki Norbury Bella from the WWE. So when yours pops up, just keep yours on pause until we do, the usual obligatory thing of counting down, because, folks, this is what Raiden was greeted to some 3 to 4 years ago. I just say to him, "Hey, Raiden, this is Angry Oni. Say hello to him." He goes, "Oh my god, I'm afraid."
I want to live, Clarence.
Right, I'm over the play button. How about you, Raiden?
Let me get to it. Hold on.
I'm ready.
Luigi's Mansion, by the way.
Oh, I'm ready.
Lids.
I'm ready.
Kaiju.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Let Oni commence play.
All right, I just got introduced to a giant scream.
I know.
Jeez, he's making.
Oh god.
He's making Wings of Redemption seem subtle by comparison.
I know.
My reaction, I just posted on Wrestle Hero.
I think I just broke my hand! Are you okay?
Look here, listen.
Oh.
Oh god. Oh my god.
Now, what this is all leading to is the announcement of Nikki and Brie Bella being inducted to the Hall of Fame class of 2020, and I'm not going to read from an article. I've written my own piece for this week.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And I think I saw a little bit of that.
I have a few things to say regarding the news of the soon-to-be Hall of Famers. Some might agree, some might feel like they are being wronged. What you will get is my 2 cents. 3 things. It's far too soon. Because Nikki's only been retired 1 or 2 years, and I don't feel like they've done anything noteworthy enough to be inducted, which leads into, what did they even do to deserve this? Because I don't ever recall eye candy and nepotism and backstabbing being, a criteria to be put on. Although given Vince McMahon's twisted way of looking at things, it wouldn't surprise me. And onto this. Why are they being inducted ahead of the likes of Mickie James, Molly Holly, Victoria, even Sable, Gail Kim, although given her views on WWE in recent years, that's unlikely, AJ Lee, again, similar situation to Gail, and even The Rock, The Undertaker, Kane, and Randy Orton. Heck, at this stage, Val Venus is more deserving of a ring than them. Or even Virgil.
Oh, you want to give a ring to Virgil? He's just gonna sell it.
And for context, Stephen, not Virgil Tracy. This is a Virgil in WWE that would make, well, Lance Storm look charismatic by comparison. All Nikki has to her credit is the longest reigning Divas title run, and that was done out of spite for CM Punk walking out and breaking AJ's record. Subtlety has never been your strong suit, has it, Vince? And it's probably one of the very few you don't have in your wardrobe. Some cite that the Bellas broke down barriers for the women's division. How? You can't wrestle. Alright, you're a few steps above Eva Marie, but then again, she was beyond terrible. You're athletic, but being athletic doesn't mean you'll be a good wrestler. A boxer would not make a good wrestler because it's a different discipline. A runner would not make a good wrestler because of the demand from the sport, and, well, because Vince McMahon doesn't like skinny guys or skinny women. He likes grotesque, muscular people.
He likes big, sweaty men. That's what we're saying.
Yes. When it comes to breaking down barriers by pioneers of the women's division, there are 2 that stand head and shoulders above the rest at the top of the list. Lita and Trish Stratus. They came in at a time where the women were only seen as eye candy, and they put on amazing stellar matches that made the fans sit up and take notice, especially when they headlined Raw in the first ever women's title main event in late 2004, which saw Lita capture her first women's title in 4 years. Casual fans will remember the Bellas for, quote, breaking down barriers, when what they will really be remembered for is the media exposure with their reality series and causing drama that kept the likes of Maria Kanellis from returning for years. Oh, trust me, that's actually a real thing. Go look it up. Real fans will remember the real pioneers of the women's division in Trish, Lita, Victoria, Jacqueline, Molly Holly, Beth Phoenix, Jazz, and Oni's personal favourite, Mickie James. What this comes down to with their Hall of Fame induction, courtesy of their, quote, success, is down to nepotism. Let's be real. If Nikki never went out with John Cena, would she have had as many opportunities she received? It's debatable, but I think she would not have been as successful. So to summarise, the WWE are essentially praising and rewarding mediocrity and nepotism. And you know what the irony will be? They'll headline the ceremony. And if that happens, the WWE will single-handedly delegitimize the Hall of Fame at a time where it needs legitimacy the most, when you consider the funk the business is in, with attendances and ratings dropping. And also, we'll more than likely see a mushroom cloud erupt above Oni's home because he went Super Saiyan, angry Vegeta style.
Oh God, no! It's like, why do I suddenly hear boss music?
Or you hear, or no. This is how Oni would react. He would turn Super Saiyan, angry Vegeta style, but it'll be akin to when he found out that he'd been tricked by Krillin and Gohan, but by knowing where the Dragon Balls are. I'll get you. You won't escape my wrath. Do you fit?
Oh God, it's gonna be like DBZ Abridged where he comes out of the water just
Do you hear that, Krillin? I feel that, Gohan.
Its scream will just tear dimensions.
Yeah, probably go to a point where it tears through a dimension where, I don't know, Kaiju's president of the United States, and it's just like, what the hell did I just hear?
Godzilla, deal with it!
Roar! I just went to have a nap. Godzilla, do it or no dino treats. Oh, you must hang that above my head, won't you? Steven's asking, what level of Super Saiyan? Angry Vegeta style level.
It's Super Saiyan 4. He turns into an ape and then he turns into Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah. Dan's asked, how would you feel about the British Bulldog being inducted into the Hall of Fame? Pleased, and we'll say long overdue, but we'll get to that. I've said everything I need to. Raiden, you may begin sharpening your claws. Oh dear.
Oh God. Are you okay?
Sorry. Was channeling my inner Brad Swale. I was gonna go for a mulligan, but you basically said you basically said everything. I mean, Lord knows I've roasted the crap out of Nikki Bella for a year, so it isn't gonna do any good. I mean, I should have known they would do this shit. Like, WWE has forgotten legitimacy for years at this point. So, I ain't mad at it. I'm petty about it. I'm laughing people defending it. Like, okay. And here's some dark hard truths. The only reason they're in there because of Total Divas, Total Bellas. Simple as that. It is for wrestling. Damn sure it ain't for wrestling. I mean, I thought I'd be mad at that, but that was I don't know. That would be something that, I don't know, me cheating myself for the bigger picture. AKA laughing off all the stupidity for this shit, because Lord knows there's a lot. So, I'm going to be a little classy and say congrats. But don't think it's a big honor. No. Y'all know the real reason you guys are inducted. So peace and blessings. That's all I gotta say. I swear, anytime this company has done something stupid, they elevate my pettiness, and it's the most powerful thing on this earth.
Damn.
Well, not powerful than Oni's rage, but it's somewhere.
Damn. Let's...
To be perfectly honest, I knew that this was going to happen. The soonest they said, "Oh, the Bella twins are going to be our super special guests," I'm like, "Oh no, they're going to announce them in the Hall of Fame, aren't they?" As soon as So there was a person who announced that on Oni's stream. That's what caused the big freak out right then and there. He's all like, "Give me a second," and then he just backs away. That was his new microphone.
Damn.
And he was far away from his computer. So yeah, you can tell that. But to be perfectly honest, I don't care. I'm done with WWE for a while. The only reason is I hear it offhand every once in a while. I don't care. The Bella Twins can fuck off for all I care. It doesn't bother me any. Just it again, like you said, it delegitimizes the Hall of Fame. But let's be honest, when you put in Mike Tyson, you kind of delegitimize it just a little, just a little.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because during the SummerSlam 2012 review panel, Oni said something to the effect of, you fire AW for a rape joke, yet you induct a convicted rapist in Mike Tyson into the Hall of Fame. Nice. Kind of a double standard. Yeah. Oh, Steve is just commenting, I was on the stream. I was terrified.
We're sorry.
Elman was probably watching and go, hang on, let me get the popcorn.
Oh my god, no.
Well, it's Hellman. He's evil.
I know he is.
Hearing Oni's rage, well, let's just say that it's a very special day. Something that only happens once a year. A smile appeared across my face, and I'll be looking like, oh man, when you smile, bad things happen. Yes, I know. Imagine smiling at Raiden. It's just like, get away from me.
Get away.
So yeah, we're not happy with the idea that the Bellas are inducted. And if anyone's asking, well, why didn't you ask Kaiju? Kaiju doesn't care about wrestling. It's not his thing.
He doesn't care.
I have strong things to say about this. I don't care.
I believe my point was made.
As true as they say, ignorance is bliss.
Just not when Alexa's around, because it's always blissful with her. And yes, I realize how terrible that sounds.
Yeah. Let's bring out the puns.
Well, there'll probably be a few in some of the movie reviews I'm going to be doing a little bit later next month, but not going to go giving away spoilers because, hey, it's not what we do here. Alright, on to the non-wrestling topic of the evening. Sonic the Hedgehog wins second weekend box office with 26.3 million. Sonic the Hedgehog was narrowly able to defeat The Call of the Wild this weekend at the box office. The big screen adaptation of the iconic video game has been earning more than most people originally anticipated, thanks in part to the hefty redesign process. The Sonic movie took in 26.3 million, which was more than enough to take top spot this weekend. To date, Sonic the Hedgehog has earned over 203.1 million globally, and it shows no signs of slowing down. 97 million more, and it's considered a hit. Because that is the rule of thumb. If you get past 300 million, you're a hit. The Call of the Wild took the second position this weekend after earning 24.8 million. The movie, which stars Harrison Ford, has been receiving mixed reviews all week, with many wondering why the dog had to be CGI. Birds of Prey took the third spot, can't say I'm surprised, after bringing in an additional 7 million. The Margot Robbie starring movie has been underperforming at the box office, despite critical and fan praise. The movie has only earned 173.7 million since debuting in theaters early this month. As is either Brahms or Brahms, I don't know how you pronounce that. The Boy 2 took the 4th spot this weekend after bringing in 5.9 million. The supernatural horror movie is a standalone sequel to 2016's The Boy and stars Katie Holmes, Ralph Ineson, Owain Yeoman, and Christopher Convery. Bad Boys for Life took the 5th position with 5.8 million. The highly anticipated sequel has been a box office success and has earned over 391 million globally since hitting theaters last month. Sam Mendes' 1917 earned 4.4 million this weekend, which was enough to land at number 6. The Academy Award-winning World War I movie has been a steady earner at the box office ever since its debut at the end of December. Blumhouse's Fantasy Island has not been a hit with critics. Note the lack of surprise. But it was able to...
Oh, if you... Off topic, if you saw the ending, you'd be annoyed.
Oh dear. But it was able to bring in 4.1 million and took the 7th spot this weekend. The movie, which is based on the hit TV series of the same name, takes a much different approach to the source material than what most people were expecting. Parasite took the 8th position this weekend after earning 3.1 million. The thriller has been a healthy box office uptick since winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Jumanji: The Next Level remains in at the top 10, came in at number 9 after bringing in 3 million. The sequel hit theaters last year and has been able to consistently earn money, unlike The Rise of Skywalker. No comment. Finally, at number 10 is Photograph, which took in 2.8 million. You can check out the rest of the weekend's numbers over at Box Office Mojo. So, my boy is still at the top, earning an impressive 200 million globally so far. Steven says, now I imagine Elman as Cummings Robotnik. Please do not give that man ideas. Like, Elman, ooh, it warms the cockles of my heart.
Please, no.
Kieran Porter says, wow, the industry analyst slept on Call of the Wild. Sean says, Dr. Jim Ivor Robotnik was great and just eats it up. Yes, he does. Steven says, and he likes lattes. Jim Robotnik, of course I like lattes. I like the way you make them. Dan says, what I really want to know if how well Sonic would stand against the upcoming Pixar film Onward. We're just going to have to wait and see.
I mean, to be honest, that might actually topple it off. I'm not saying that it's not going to be a strong contender, but yeah, that's gonna be a fight for the number 1 position at that point.
Well, it's like I pretty much said in my spoiler and spoiler-free reviews that I put up yesterday. Now, for context, Ticket 3 would have been up on a Monday, but because I didn't see the Sonic movie until Wednesday, I spent the better part of a few days not only getting the chroma keying done, but also doing the editing. Because what I tend to do with regards to the main body of the review, that's done in Vegas 14, but I do anything like intros, reveals, and transitions and credits in Vegas 12, because I'm not able to use certain new blue features in Vegas 14, because apparently there's like a license key issue that I'm not able to have one come over to the other. I don't get it. But at the same time, Vegas 12 still works perfectly fine for little things like that, and it was taking a while just to get the credits to line up properly, but it was a case of once I was satisfied enough with it, that's when that got done. The spoiler review took 2 hours to render, and even by that point, I'm like, this thing's been delayed long enough. Got that uploaded to YouTube about 2 a.m. in the morning, and then set it for 6 a.m. for release, and then set reminders to TiVo Thunderbirds at 8:30. It's like, I'm going to bed. You're like, I've done what I need to. That's enough. I think with regards to plot, with what they did with Sonic, and Oni has probably said this to you as well, Lids. The plot was a little too simplified. It felt like there could have been more depth put in. Now, in the context of that, I'm not saying we need the depth and layers and development like that of the Dark Knight. I'm not trying to make Sonic on Christopher Nolan's level, because that's never going to happen. But it would have been nice if they could just actually put in little pieces that make it slightly more complex. But what I was pleased with is all the performances were decent. Even smaller, small roles that were in there, like Maddie's sister Rachel, or her daughter Jojo. All of them had very specific roles that actually made all of the characters charming, and I went into it with low expectations because I thought, I know it's a video game movie, but I'm going to weigh it up based on its own merits and credibility. I did not, was expecting to come out of that and be bowled over, because video game movies have a very, very hit and miss record at the box office. I would bring up Resident Evil, but that is Resident Evil in name only. Because I even had the fortune of sitting through most of the first movie, and even my brother, who's more of a Resident Evil fan than I am. I don't call myself a fan, I was just bored and I wanted to watch something. And he was sort of nitpick, is like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's wrong, that's wrong. What the hell were you doing? That's wrong. When you have a brother who's a video game nerd, he's going to know certain things. So when it came to with Sonic, I was actually surprised there was actually so much level of care, respect, and appreciation for the character. And one of the things that typified that was when they delayed the movie for 4 months to redesign the character. And I think if I'd gone into the theater watching the original design I probably still would have enjoyed it, but I would have been a little bit distracted, because, and this is something that I've been very vocal about over the last 10 months, I could see what they were trying to do with the original design. Because you're taking Sonic into a realistic setting, you'd want to see proportions and physics that would actually work. But at the same time, what we were greeted with, that was not Sonic. You think Sonic, you think of the unibrow, you think of the iconic red and white sneakers and his gloves, and I think the only things that really put me off was the eyes. I mean, people made a huge deal out of the teeth, which is just well, we've seen, there was close-ups where you could actually see his teeth anyway with the redesign, so I didn't try to make too much of a thing out of that. But what Tyson Hesse was able to do with the redesign is, it was, the best of both worlds. It looked plausible with textures and fur on him, and still have the two separate eyes, but he did it in a way whereby anybody that's not even a Sonic fan goes, oh, that's Sonic. And one thing I was saying before we went on the air, these are going to be some spoilers, so if you're not interested in hearing what I have to say with regards to spoilers, I will, mute your speakers for 30 seconds starting now. One of the things that I thought was very sweet and very charming is in the scene at the motel where, they're just settling down for the night. We're doing just fine, Aaron. Sonic has just fallen off to sleep, and Tom's just sort of, thinking, oh, so you're not going to stay up all night then. He tucks him in, and he's looking at his bucket list of all the things that he wanted to get done before he leaves Earth, and one of the ones that wasn't crossed off was to make a real friend, which I thought was, very sweet and very charming, and equally as much at the end of the movie where he walks up into the attic after they say, well, it's time for you to go back to your cave, and they've taken all of his possessions and everything he holds near and dear from the cave, and they've put it in the attic, making that his new room, basically, saying to him, you're part of this family now. And, Sonic was done in such a way whereby I've never seen him like this. I mean, he still has the same bravado, the charisma, and the attitude that we're all so familiar with him over the last 29 years, but he was done in such a way whereby he was actually made to be more of a three-dimensional character. He actually had flaws. You actually felt sorry for him because of the fact that he had been lonely for 10 years because of the fact he had to do, world hopping. So, like I say, I went in with little expectations and I came out thinking, this better get a damn sequel. Especially after all that. Damn, what did you leave me? Oh no, what'd you do?
What did you do?
Oh, this. Hang on. It's not a cursed revelation, Dan. Here's what he's referring to. Hang on, let me just find this. I think what you're seeing there, more than anything, is as breezy as Catella the Huntress once said in the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, what a coinky dink. And it's the idea of Robo Urkel and Urkel versus Sonic and Metal Sonic. Yeah. Steven says, a more human portrayal of the character, and Sean Retcher said, is it Sonic? Yeah, here's another spoiler. They actually reference the damn Sonic the Hedgehog art, and I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, did you have to bring that meek? Yeah, they did. They have, like, crazy...
It could have been worse, though. It could have been Sonic Chew, okay? Let's be clear on that.
We don't talk about Sonic Chew. We don't talk about Sonic Chew. Heck, we don't even talk about Oni Chew.
I don't want to know what Oni Chew is.
What it is...
Please don't show me. Please don't show me.
What the joke is, Elman and Oni were talking about Pokemon trading cards during a Season 8 match of RDR, and I said, Oni's would be, have his own card. He's got Onichu, and he goes, Onichu, oh gosh, no! What do I look like, Christian to you? Ugh, what's the matter with you?
No.
And I just simply go, chiming with, Onichu, go! And I was like, ooh, I'm going to have Oni in a little Pokeball. Ah, get the hell away from me!
Oh, God, I completely forgot. No.
Kieran says, it could have been the weird Mr. Potato Head Sonic. Wait, that's a thing?
That's a thing?
Okay.
I don't want to know.
No. The only other thing, and, this could be seen as a positive thing, but I just see this more as a constructive thing. I felt the movie moved at lightning pace, because 99 minutes felt like 30. Now, the upside to that is nothing drags. Everything... You get to absorb the plot points without... Even when there's, no action scenes or no driving scenes, you get to actually... the momentum's still being turned. I'm just hoping what they do for the second movie is... I mean, some people are saying, oh, let's bring Shadow in. I'm like, that's way too early. That's way too early. If anything, they'll probably do like a loose retelling of Sonic 2 and probably Sonic CD. Because that would be more interesting. I would think that would be more interesting to have that done. And someone was saying to me the other day, what about bringing Amy in? Too early. Alex Tube saying, hello, what are we talking about? Sonic the Hedgehog at the moment. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Oh, someone else just joined us by the sounds of things.
No, it was just me.
Raiden, your thoughts on the fact that Sonic has pretty much stayed at the top for a second week, and what do you think about the possibilities of where they could go for a sequel?
I'm just hoping, after this they put everything in line and work harder like they did with this movie. Personally, I would love to see Metal Sonic be in the sequel. And I would say save Shadow for the third or fourth movie. It's better to just get some of the OG main guys as the rivals for Sonic before, the obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully it goes well, and glad for success. Hopefully I can check it out this week. I was pretty busy with stuff last week.
Kieran is saying, I really want Knuckles with the universe. He probably will be, considering one of the echidnas they focused on had red fur. So to paint Knuckles as a heel again, that'll be an interest. Well, he wasn't really a heel, he was just duped by Eggman due to his naivete. And I hate to bring this up to Sega, naivete and stupidity are two different things. Someone can be naive, i.e. someone be very intelligent, but they have little to no street smarts. Where somebody stupid is just somebody stupid. It's two different things. Aaron Ezra says, come on MJ, why not have some of the Satan characters in the sequel? I don't think Sega nor Paramount will do that. I would like to see that happen, but I have to be plausible with this. I don't see it happening. Dan says, what if Agent Stone returns in the sequel? His body gets destroyed, but Robotnik saves his brain and puts it in a robot. Which robot from Sonic Media would it be? I don't know, just make him like a robot version of, what's already there. So Robo Stone, I don't know.
Make him the chicken.
Yeah. In the sequel, Tails is probably going to be there, and Knuckles maybe. That would be a stretch. Kieran says, with what was set up, I really want to see Knuckles. A lot of people do. Steven says, apparently rumor has it that Dwayne Johnson is in talk to voice Knuckles.
No. They are doing a missed opportunity right there. No. Have him be the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Have that joke pay off.
That'd be good. What? Where am
The
I?
Oval Office. Want to see you, Mr. President? Chair turns around. It's The Rock.
Like, where am I? What year is it? Is The Rock president?
All of a sudden, yes, ma'am.
Well,
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
the other rumor I've been hearing is that they wanted to get Cena for Knuckles.
No.
Can you imagine what that would be like? They go into the theater and Oni's watching. Here's Knuckles speaking. Sonic, you can't see me. He's like, I hate this movie already.
That'll be the moment where he walks out of the theater. It's like, done.
Oni has left the building. Oni, you forgot your Cheetos. Hold on. I'm leaving. He's going to come up to me later and go, I hate you. I love you too, dude. Alex Tube says, stupidity is different. Yep. Kieran says, as a novel version of the film made note that Sonic knew the echidnas and he saw the echidnas and recognized them. Dan says Agent Stone could be Orbot. Oh no. No. Let's not and say we did. Sean says, Knuckles, hands off my emeralds. Oh, God, that
Oh.
You know they're going to find a way, if they bring Knuckles in, you know they're going to find a way of him saying, do you know the way?
Oh, God. That means stay dead where it belongs.
I don't know. Especially the way Corey reacted when he heard that originally. He lost his mind. Lids, thoughts on that? Alex Tube is asking, it's off topic, but is After the Storm delayed? Yeah, sadly, Alex, it has been delayed again, only because Kaiju best advised me to not render the video whilst I'm live streaming, because OBS actually does require a lot of virtual memory to be able to stream. So, and because Vegas already uses a lot of power and a lot of free space just to be able to render the video properly, it's going to be delayed until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning at the very earliest. And you know, it's like I've said earlier, I appreciate and I'm thankful that all of you are being so patient with it. I'm trying to get it, to get it finished, but I can't render and stream at the same time because that'll put pressure on my PC, and my PC has had enough problems in the last few years, so I don't want to put any unnecessary strain on it that it's already gone through. And finally, getting back to Lids. Lids, thoughts on Sonic's at the top for the second week? Mind you, only narrowly getting above Call of the Wild. And what are your thoughts and prospects for what they could do for a sequel?
To be fair, I'm glad it's doing well, but the fact that it almost got beat by a movie that wasn't really getting that much like, I don't know, promotion, because that's the first I'm hearing about a remake of Call of the Wild, so I don't know. But I'm glad it's doing well in the box office, and for a sequel, I would include Metal Sonic and have Knuckles be his backup, but then Knuckles turns on Robotnik and the robot and then teams up with Sonic. And Tails. Because, yeah, Tails is going to be in the next movie. He has to be.
I do like the fact they actually got Tails' mainstream video game voice actress to reprise her role. They could have gotten someone else, but they chose to go in-house. And I'm just saying this out loud. If Ben Schwartz does really well with the next movie, who's to say he won't replace Roger as the game voice artist?
That'd be interesting. And also, if you want to do like a tie-in with the original series, have Metal Sonic be voiced by Jaleel White.
Oh, I want that. Or just have
that.
Or have him say, like in a robotic tone, "That's no good." And that was a thing. That was a missed opportunity in the movie. I was like, "Oh, come on! You didn't go with that line." But they mentioned chili dogs, and I'm like, okay. This is like, what did you eat? I think they call it a chili dog. I'm like, okay, my inner child is very pleased right now.
That was, Oni said that was the one complaint he almost had, because it's like, fart joke, and it's like, then he mentioned chili dogs. I'm like, okay, I see what you did there. All right, I'll let that slide.
And the fact that, they put in an adult joke where, to set the scene, Jim Carrey's going to Major Bennington and goes, and you guess you haven't finished reading Charlotte's Web yet. Spoiler warning, she dies at the end, leaves a yucky egg sack. Well, look what came from my egg sack. And I'm like, Jim, what the hell? Cleveland, help me out. Oh, that's nasty. something finally for Kaiju to comment on, 'cause as stated, guys, he's not a wrestling fan. He doesn't care about it. But what are your thoughts on the fact that Sonic's doing well at the box office, and what do you think could be the prospects for what they could do going into a sequel?
Let's see. I am genuinely surprised, and pleasantly surprised to know how well the Sonic movie is doing. I know that like Sonic hasn't really been in the mainstream all that much, so. But then again, Sonic has always been kind of like the perfect sort of family-friendly character for which families would want to take their children to go see in the movie theaters, especially when there's really nothing in theaters right now aimed at that demographic. And thankfully for Sonic, I feel like he came in just at the right moment, right before Disney Pixar's Onward comes in to most likely take its spot. And by then, it'll already have made its money back and then some. And yeah, I remember it kind of takes me back to like around like 2003, 2004, around that era, between the releases of Sonic Hero, Sonic Adventure DX, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I feel like that was like kind of like the last time Sonic was really in the mainstream, or at least had like a lot of mainstream success, and he was like everywhere in terms of games, toys, animation, McDonald's Happy Meals, if anyone remembers those little LCD games. So yeah, I can feel like the Sonic character has always had that sort of like large mainstream appeal that unfortunately had been squandered for a good while. And the movie definitely kind of shows that, hey, this character does have some strong legs for it to stand on its own as a successful character. As for what they could do in the sequel, most likely, like given how this first movie I haven't seen it myself personally because it's a huge pain in the ass for me to get to a movie theater with no car, and B, I've actually been more interested in other movies like Parasite and 1917. Those are two movies I really want to check out before eventually seeing Sonic. But from what I've read, I've heard about the spoilers. I've heard about what this movie had to offer, and yeah, it does pretty much fall in line with Hollywood's sort of hesitant nature when it comes to new IPs. They want to really go with a very kind of generic, very low risk type of premise. And then if it's successful enough, then for the sequels, they can decide to go as crazy as they want. Perfect example would be kind of Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. One movie had a very little focus on Godzilla because the studio wasn't sure whether or not people would care about a new Godzilla movie to begin with. And then the sequel movie, they kind of went ham with all the monsters and stuff. So I can see them trying to adapt a mixture of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3's plots for the sequel. I mean, they already mentioned it's kind of like, first you bring out Sonic. Okay, people can accept the talking blue hedgehog. All right. So then let's introduce Tails. Let's establish him as a best friend, and let's establish Knuckles as a proper rival because we haven't seen that in forever. And then for the third one, we can probably perhaps do Sonic 3 with the introduction of Amy and Metal Sonic. I mean, it kind of makes sense to go Sonic 1, 2, 3, or in this case, Sonic 2 and Knuckles.
And Knuckles.
Do we have to bring Amy into this?
Unfortunately,
you gotta have that female representation. That's what Hollywood's all about these days, apparently.
Sally, cough, Sally. Sorry.
And to build off of what MJ said about the Sonic Sat AM cast or the Archie cast, I definitely feel like Sega would probably be more interested in having a sort of unifying theme between all of the different versions of Sonic. I can see them wanting to say, hey, let's make the games like the movies like the games. The comics, whatever. Nobody reads comics, so we'll let them do whatever they want.
Comic books? What are those things?
It's like I say, I'd like to see Sally brought in, but I don't see it happening.
realistically, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's why people have, fan projects. It's like, okay, we can't get it the way we want it to be done. We'll do it ourselves. So, nothing wrong with them doing that. But, it's like I say, I'd like to see the Freedom Fires brought in, but I don't see it happening. And technically, they did have two references to Archie's. One was with Ozzy, because that was a reference to Mutsky from Satam and the Archie series, and Sonic having a racing car bed, that's a reference to Archie's as well. So there were elements of the comics there, but it's only more like a subtle, respectful, nod rather than have it directly transferred in to the movie setup. Because I think what the writers of this are doing is, yes, they are respecting and acknowledging what has gone before, but they're trying to make this its own thing. Because, I would love to have, like, every, aspect of what I loved about the games and any animated series growing up, but this is not my generation. This is for the new generation that are being introduced to Sonic in the same way that, like with the original Thunderbirds that me and Steven were introduced to during the rerun era. Thunderbirds or Go is for the generation of today, but at the same time, because it's such a generational thing, all ages can appreciate it in the same way that somebody that watches, the recent Godzilla movies, yeah, they are catering to the modern audience, but they're also catering to those that grew up with the original movies from 54 to Godzilla's last fight with Destroyer before his son took over, which went nowhere. And then to, even Godzilla 98, which I criticize that movie's plot heavily, but I happen to like the creature design from that. I don't know, maybe, I just see something in that design that others don't. That's just a thing with me. But looking at it from a Hollywood producer's perspective and modern Sega, yes, I would love to see my favorite characters brought in, but what 7 to 12-year-old is going to want to see characters from a 25-year-old comic book that has been cancelled be brought in? They're going to look at these characters and think, well, who are they? Why is this of interest to me? The only thing that they recognize with the Sonic brand, Sonic obviously, Tails, Knuckles, and the likes of Amy and probably even Styx the Badger are brought in because that's what they've seen from the modern interpretations. Although I do have one request, like I said earlier. If you bring Knuckles in, please, for the love of God, don't make him an idiot. We've had enough of that now. Stupid Knuckles is not fun. They even typify this during a cutscene in Sonic Boom. Knuckles is actually looking at his hands, trying to figure out which is his left hand, and I'm like, are you serious? So yeah, Sean says they could always use Blaze the Cat again. They got to bring these things in slowly, Sean. As much as I would like to see these most of the modern characters brought in, as Kaiju said, set up Sonic 2, where you have Tails brought in, and then with Sonic 3, you have Amy and Knuckles brought in. You got to do it gradually and slowly, because I think by the end of the movie, Sonic's character was properly introduced. People got to know him. Could see all his little quirks and what have you. But at the end of the movie, people felt like he had changed and evolved as a character. And I think the same thing's going to happen with Tails when they bring him in. They've got to introduce him to a new audience. And the same thing's going to happen with Amy and Knuckles. If they're going to get The Rock to voice Knuckles, which that's going to be an interesting thing. Like, I could just imagine like someone saying, "Okay, can you just do, just like imagine like saying there's an outtake. It's like if you smell." And I've let Sonic go like, "Why are you talking to yourself in third person?"
Shut up, jabroni.
But as to whom they would cast as Amy, probably somebody with a less pitchy voice. Now, I like Cindy Robinson, who voices her in Boom. In fact, Amy's actually one of the few reprising aspects of that train wreck of an animated series. I mean, it's okay, but it's no Satam or Adventures of. You're biased, yes, I'm aware of it. What of it? I don't know. I'd like to see an unknown voice actress pop up. Just try something different. Don't get someone really titchy or annoying. I mean, it would probably annoy Lids to no end where it comes up in the credits, Amy Rose by Megan Fox. You'd be like, I'm out, gone.
And it's like, that's it, I'm out of here.
That'd be like a Godzilla character being voiced by Matthew Broderick. He just goes, I paid $7.50 for this.
No, that'd be Kaiju's. That's it, I'm out of here.
It's like that SpongeBob meme. I'm about to head out.
Sean says, "Oh, definitely MJ." He's referred to, my take on why some characters won't be brought in. Says same with Transformers. Being stupid does not equal funny. Sean says it's hard to top Satam. Agreed. Steven says at least it's not Sonic X. We don't talk about Sonic X. There are some things I enjoy with that, mainly the Japanese dub, simply because the dialogue is nowhere near as cringe as the English-speaking one. I mean, Raiden, I think you and I could both agree that it's just the pitch and delivery that 4Kids put out. It's just... some episodes are like so terrible to get through.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I remember watching them back when I was younger, and it's like, yeah, I don't know about this one.
I mean, the problem with 4Kids, and this is something that A-Log can vouch for, is they're just a one-take recording. They just do one take of the for vocals, and that's it. Whereas, say, someone like Funimation, they would do multiple takes until they could find that right one, that right pitch. And Stephen Walker says, Robotnik destroys 4Kids. I do love that one. That is freaking hilarious. And then he sees, an image of Sonic Underground, and he's just like, Snively, oh no! Ah! I can imagine, like, Oni being like, as soon as, like, a bad episode of AEW pops up, it goes, Lydia, prepare the cannon. Because he would do that, Lids. Does anyone have anything else to say with regards to Sonic's second week at the box office, or shall we move on to another topic?
I think
Yep, I'm ready. I do have one article that I would like to share, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
All right, and I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this, but are any of you familiar with a particular hero in a half shell by the name of Gamera?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so sorry, MJ.
I am aware of Gamera.
So Gamera, he's that other giant monster whose name also begins with a G, and also ends in an A. This is a character that's been around since 1965, I believe, and is currently celebrating its 55th anniversary.
Damn.
And so, most people happen to know, most likely will know Gamera through Mystery Science Theater 3000, where several of its movies were covered by Joel and the Bots back in the show's heyday. And now looks like Arrow Video is going to be putting out a complete 12 movie collection on Blu-ray of the entire Gamera series. And I just put a link to the article from Sci-Fi Japan. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Arrow Films like most primarily focused on like what was it, UK, on like European or UK releases?
I wouldn't know what to tell you on that one.
Okay. This is my first time hearing of Arrow, but it looks like they are going to be putting together this special Blu-ray set for both the US and UK this summer. Let's see here. Looking at, is it okay if I read the article, or would you like to do it, MJ?
You go ahead, my dude.
All right. So let's hear. Arrow Video has announced Gamera, the complete collection, a deluxe Blu-ray box set of the entire Gamera movie series, packed with bonus features. The limited edition will be released in both the US and UK this summer, with the invaluable assistance of Matt Frank, whose knowledge of the series and list of contacts is as vast as his artistic talent. We at Arrow have been working tirelessly on the Gamera box set for the last year, and are incredibly excited to give this early taste of our hard work. Arrow's James Flower, project manager on the complete collection, explained to Sci-Fi Japan. We're doing all we can to make this the definitive and most comprehensive release of these films, and this announcement is just the tip of the iceberg. Look out for a proper announcement with full specs and a more detailed look at Matt's incredible new art in the not too distant future. And we've got more tokusatsu releases lined up for later in the year too. Contributor Matt Frank, from the artist of Godzilla Rulers of Earth and Redman, added, "I cannot be more thrilled to work on this set. I've spent months researching and finding a new style to pursue what is easily a career highlight for me, and I hope it shows. Gamera has always held a really special place in my heart, and to be a part of this release just thrills me to no end. Not only that, but they're including my short story, Gamera The Last Hope, as well as letting me do a commentary track. Some turtle god must like me a lot." Arrow's press release follows. The original Hero in a Half Shell returns for the first time ever worldwide. All 12 tales of the adventures of everyone's favorite Titanic Terrapin are collected together in one deluxe Blu-ray box set. This limited edition collector's set traces the decades-long evolution of Gamera, from the friend to all children in his most lighthearted earlier films to the guardian of the universe in the groundbreaking 1990s reboot series, often hailed as three of the best kaiju films ever made. To which I most definitely agree. In fact, I would go far as to say that the 90s Gamera movies are way better than any of the 90s Godzilla movies, both in terms of effects, story, overall presentation. I highly recommend anyone who is a fan of giant monster movies who hasn't seen the 90s Gamera trilogy to check it out. Let's see. Limited edition contents. Limited collector's edition packaging housed in a large format rigid box fully illustrated by Matt Frank. All 12 uncut original Japanese versions of the films in high definition with lossless Japanese and English audio, 4K restoration of the critically acclaimed Heisei trilogy, hours of new and archived bonus features, expert commentaries including August Ragone, David Cowlett, Steve Rifle, and Ed Godziszewski, all of which who have done commentaries for a lot of the high-end Godzilla releases. Interviews with cast and crew, and the worldwide Blu-ray premiere of Gamera the Invincible, the American theatrical version of the first film. Hardback 120-page comic book, including a full-color reprint of the 4-issue Gamera comic series, originally released by Dark Horse Comics in 1996, and the first ever English language printing of the prequel comic, Gamera The Last Hope, by Matt Frank and Joshua Bugosh. Perfect bound 80-page book includes a new retrospective on the series by Patrick Macias. I could be pronouncing that wrong. Kaiju X-ray illustrations by Jolion Yates, and much more. Final specs to be confirmed soon. US release date July 28th, 2020. UK release date July 27th, 2020, with a SRP of 179.95 and RRP at 149.99 pounds.
Nice. That does sound intriguing.
Mhm.
I know my brother would be interested in that because I think he actually has the Gamera movie from late '99 where they actually commented on either the Godzilla incident from New York or may have been coming off from a completely different movie, but I do recall. Go on.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that might be Godzilla, like GMK, the Godzilla film GMK, where they make a jab at '98 New York Godzilla.
Because what I remember seeing from the Gamera movie around that time, I did notice that the studio had actually upped their game by actually improving the special and practical effects, but also incorporating some visual effects. Just because I think they took a look at the Godzilla movie from '98 and said, "Yeah, this is terrible, but there are lessons that we can learn from what they did from the special and visual effects of that movie." So I did feel like they incorporated some aspects into that Gamera movie, because the way you see Gamera spinning through the air at the rate he was going, I was like, that's not a practical effect. That has to be visual.
Oh yeah, I feel like as the series went on, the Gamera series definitely does a beautiful job at putting together practical effects and special visual effects. It's like only using CGI when it was like most absolutely necessary, such as, as you mentioned, Gamera flying.
Well, with that's no different to where they would only use visual effects in the Jurassic Park series, where they knew that using practical effects would not achieve the payoff that they were looking for. I mean, a running dinosaur, that's visual, but if you got a dinosaur that's stationary, just surveying its surroundings and looking around, like the T-Rex, propping its head above the trees after dining on the goats, like, well, you can use an animatronic for that because it's stationary. So it's just being able to, as you say, find a nice marriage of the two where you're able to.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, if I remember, because they had this monster movie night theme on BBC Two back in the day, where you'd have pundits actually doing commentary on these monster fights, one of which being the fight between Godzilla and King Kong in the 60s, and people were like betting money on it. They did actually have like a small piece where they focused on Gamera being actually like a champion of children, whereas originally they had it as on adults, then they brought it down to college kids, and eventually it's like, no, let's make Gamera a champion of the kids. And I thought that's actually quite charming. I mean,
most definitely, yeah.
Did they do that for the '90s reboot, or did they kind of move away from
that? They definitely moved away from the child-friendly charm of the 60s and 70s films. This one was definitely more in line with, let's see. It's kind of difficult to describe the 90s reboot, but yeah, the early 60s and 70s was definitely aimed towards little children. With the exception of Gamera versus Barugon, the second film in the series, every single Gamera movie in the 60s and 70s always had a child protagonist, and that sort of like childlike innocence and wonder. It didn't work most of the time, but it does add a lot of charm, and it helped made Gamera stick out or stand on its own compared to Godzilla, even when Godzilla was also trying to do a similar thing in the 70s. With The 90s trilogy, it was definitely more based on action, very sort of like end of the world. It was heavily involved in like Atlantean mythology, trying to portray Gamera as like this godlike guardian with like a huge lore, deep lore to him. It was kind of like a taking what was already there in the original movie and sort of expounding. It was like kind of vaguely hinted in the very first movie that Gamera might have some connections to Atlantis, but in the reboot they just went full on like Gamera is a part of this lost civilization and this is why he's so weird and different in this universe. Um so yeah, it's really focused it's not focused on children, rather focused on sort of like end of the world, mankind destroying the world has led to the birth of these monsters, and Gamera's there to stop him. So it's also got a bit of like a environmental commentary on that as well. Though I would say it's handled very well and not like kind of shoved in your face. With the interestingly enough, with there was one more Gamera movie after the 90s. It was the 2006 film Gamera the Brave, and Gamera the Brave was actually went back to the child-friendly nature of the series, where it was they essentially turned Gamera into E.T. You know, your E.T., your Bumblebee.
Aw.
They turned it's like a little boy and his pet turtle monster, and
Aw.
the little boy struggling to deal with the fact that his little turtle is in fact the son of Gamera. And in this continuity, the original Gamera died, and so the baby Gamera, or Toto as he calls him, is set to take his place, and the boy is like struggling to accept that. So it's like it's a children's family film, but it's also got some really good sort of coming of age themes along with it.
Nice.
So yeah, like I said, the Gamera series has had a lot of ups and downs. But I would say like the last four movies from 2006 and the 90s are definitely worth checking out. And if you want like a really stupid fun time, you can also check out the 60s series as well. And yes, Aaron Izzard, the collection does include what you say, the utter train wreck that is Gamera the super monster. And if you think any one of you who think Godzilla's Revenge is bad, Godzilla's Revenge has nothing on Gamera super monster, which like a good majority of that movie is just stock footage from every prior 60s 70s Gamera movie from before. It even uses black and white footage from the first movie.
Damn. Raiden, Lids, got anything for this?
I mean, it sounds cool. I'm like, it's exciting.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, I've seen a little bit of Gamera movies back then, and it seemed to hold up pretty well. That's all I gotta say.
And let's see. To answer Dan's question, what would happen if Godzuki from Hanna-Barbera Godzilla was in the MonsterVerse? It'd be cool, I guess.
Oh, okay then. Alright. We actually covered a potential Sonic movie franchise, which is what we'll also cover with the original topic. Oh boy. Fan artists have been at work again, and well, let's just put it this way. Raiden and Lids are going to probably want to be preparing to combat nightmare fuel.
Oh God, what? No. What?
Scary, realistic My Hero Academia cosplay proves Izuko isn't as cute as you'd expect. Kohei.
Kohei.
This ain't scary. This is funny. Okay, continue.
Kohei Kurikoshi's My Hero Academia recently entered its 5th year of production in
Shueisha.
Thank you. Weekly Shonen Jump, and in that time we've seen the young Izuko Midoriya make major strides towards becoming the number one hero in the future. One of the major reasons fans have stuck with the young hero in training for so long is that while he might have his super cool moments, for the most part, Midoriya. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of adorable. Most of the detractors of the series didn't like his inherently emotional nature, but that's part of what makes him so cute. That can be said for the rest of the series, as well as Hirokoshi's art makes great use of Western superhero comic boldness with manga character reactions and sensibilities to form adorable new kinds of design. Faces contort in fun ways, and the series often makes Midoriya much cuter with each of his wild reaction faces to fun situations. But what if they weren't so adorable? We all know about the anime faces, but artists at Ain't It...
Oh, Ain't Your Waifu.
At Ain't Your Waifu, you can find on Instagram here, proves that even though all of these reactions and cute character designs look fine in the manga and anime, bringing them into the real world would be far more frightening and otherworldly than you'd expect. Check it out below. And you can see on the
God damn.
and you can see on that Instagram picture below the manga and the anime, and the other one and above, nightmare fuel.
That doesn't look scary. That looks hilarious.
I know, right?
While Izuku Midoriya's stunned reaction doesn't make you blink twice while seeing it in the anime, seeing it brought to life in this fashion definitely makes it much scarier. It's the kind of look you wouldn't want to see alone in the dark, and at Ain't Your Waifu has a ton of other hilariously scary examples of twisting faces like this on their page. Seeing these so twisted does make one second guess that an upcoming live-action movie, though. Will you be able to look at My Hero Academia the same ever again? Does this worry you about the upcoming live-action adaptation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, or talk to me directly about all things anime and other cool things at
Vladizology.
Thank you on Twitter. Okay.
Why do we need a live action adaptation? We already got one. It's Sky High.
Raiden, thoughts?
I mean, like I said, this isn't scary at all. It's hilarious. I mean, I've seen scary shit from the YouTuber known as Meat Canyon more scary than this. I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, it'll be scary to some, but for me, it's hilarious. Also for anyone's safety, don't search Ed and Nettie Meat Canyon. Trust me, you will have nightmares for days. Trust me.
I won't.
But yeah, it's pretty. It looks pretty good. Pretty scary to some, but like I said, hilarious. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. That's all I gotta say.
Lids.
It looks incredibly silly. I mean, I appreciate the work that this person put into it, but
There, man.
yeah, I've seen scarier shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Things out my own nightmares can spawn better, creepier shit than this. I'm sorry.
What, you mean the Bella's trying to act competently?
Ah, my eyes! No! Why? Great, MJ. I'm blind now. Thank you.
Well, it could have been worse. Could have been the Bella's doing Playboy.
Great. There's blood. I'm blind, and there's blood coming out of my eyes. Thank you so much.
When did you turn into a lizard? 'Cause there are some lizards that actually squirt blood from their eyes as a defense mechanism.
But it's fine. It's, again, I appreciate what the person did, but it's just, it's not scary. I've seen scarier shit.
Kaiju.
I'm currently looking at the individual's Instagram right now, and yeah, this is a lot of it is like very creepy imagery here.
Ooh.
And Yeah, he pretty much goes out of his way to portray every single character from My Hero Academia in this style. And
Oh
yeah,
God, look at. Oh God, you should have seen what he did to Kirishima.
it's not so much like makeup; it's more like a lot of photoshops, a lot of like photoshopping, digital manipulation and whatnot. And yeah, it looks very impressive, and he definitely carries that creepy style in almost every single one of his or her own images. Yeah.
I just saw
Oh
some
my
of the...
God, you do not want to see what he did. What he did to Mineta.
And like
And,
yeah, even it kind of goes naturally. It shouldn't have to be stated, but yeah, what works in animation definitely does not work in live action, and this most certainly proves it when you try to literally change, like bring something from what was it, from the page into live action 3-dimensional form. What else what was it, that there was something else I wanted to bring up, but I completely forgot. But yeah, it kind of proves that point.
I'm looking at the one with the blacked out eyes and the toothy grin. Ooh.
Which blacked out eyes and toothy grin?
Top left.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay, I see now.
That's just...
That's nasty.
He does it better. Yeah, okay, Steve, I'll send the link, but... Ooh,
Actually, I got it. I'll send I'll go direct to the source. There you go.
Oh, dear.
all I gotta say is prepare yourselves. Y'all gonna see some shit.
Congrats on the exposure, Stevie G. Ain't your waifu?
Jeez Louise,
Well, that's just nasty.
right. Something pleasing. Ooh.
Anything, please.
Anything?
Not anything. Never mind. Something that won't make me want to pull up my eyeballs.
I think I have something.
Hang on. Hang on. What am I posting in that section for? That's the wrong section. Right. Hang on. Here we go. Gundam to get live action short film soon.
Nani?
Was that the sound of Oni screaming from a distance?
When it comes to Mobile Suit Gundam, the franchise knows few bounds. The title debuted years ago and kicked off an unwitting franchise that would sci-fi for good. The tech anime has a series of projects in development, and it turns out one of them is a live-action romp. And no, we are not talking about Hollywood and its impending take on Gundam. We know what that one is. Damn you. No, this
If you're referring to G Savior, that was actually Canadian. You can blame Canada for that.
Oh.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
No. No, this live-action gift is coming from Japan thanks to a well-known director. According to a new report by Sunrise, the company is producing a live-action reel inspired by Gundam, which
Katsuki Motohiro
is overseeing. Thank you. The report didn't give many details on the live-action project, but it would be based on the Gundam Build anime.
Aww.
The spin-off has become a popular one with fans, given its recent TV series, and Motohiro is making the special thanks to Gundam's 40th anniversary of Bandai model kits. Damn.
Hey.
So far, there is no release date for the video, but fans are excited by its promise. This is one of the first live-action projects which Gundam has pursued and is about a spin-off series at that. Hollywood did confirm a couple of years back that it has optioned the franchise for a live-action movie. Details about that big-budget movie are still under wraps, but fans do have big expectations. After all, Matsuhiro is a well-known creator to anime fans. He was the chief director of the first two Psychopaths shows and its first film. Outside of that, the filmmaker has worked on the FLCL and the live-action adaptation of Arjin Demi-Human. Now it seems that Matsuhiro is ready to tackle Gundam, and fans are cheering on the director as the project moves forward. What do you make of the live-action Gundam venture? Do you give it hope for the actual thing? Let me know in the comments or hit me on Twitter at Megan Peters CB to talk all things comic and anime.
Oh wait, no. I just found at first I thought, oh, it's cool. He worked on Fooly Cooly, and then I realized, oh wait, he worked on the Fooly Cooly sequels.
Oh dear.
Which I haven't read, which I haven't watched, but I've heard mixed things about. But then again,
I can attest they aren't too bad, but they don't really capture the hilarity that the OG one had.
Right. Apparently, there's a lot of drama that went on behind the scenes. Like when it came to Fooly Cooly, like I think it was Hideaki Anno, the creator of Evangelion. He wanted to get the rights to. He wanted to split things off with the company. What was it, Gainax? Because Gainax, they're really shit at business at handling business and money. So he's like, okay, I want to get out of here. I want the rights to my show, and while we're at it, I want the rights to my friend's show, Fooly Cooly, as well. And they're like, sure, we'll give it to you, fingers crossed. And they end up selling the show to this company, which ended up making Fooly Cooly seasons 2 and 3. Instead of giving it to Hideaki Anno so that he can give it to his friend who created the show. Anyways, yes. Back to this Gundam thing.
What are your thoughts, Kaiju?
So for those who don't know, the Gundam Build franchise has been sort of like the main, kind of this weird, odd spin-off sub-franchise of Gundam, which has sort of kind of overtaken the main Gundam franchise as of the last, since 2013, I would say. Usually the Gundam series is all about, space operas, war, victims of war, giant robot battles, spaceships, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, the Build franchises is sort of like meta shonen take on Gundam, where it's essentially Yu-Gi-Oh! With Gundam model kits. It's one big model kit commercial where children and adult teens...
Digimon Tamers.
Digimon Tamers. Oh yeah, that was season 3. So yeah, you have a bunch of right. Yeah, it's kind of like Digimon Tamers or Digimon Season 3, where the characters live in a world where Gundam is a fictional anime property, and so in this world, kids put together their model kits and they customize them, and they fight in virtual reality tournaments where they can control virtual versions of life-size versions of their model kits, and they fight each other and come up with new bullshit, super special, awesome attacks and abilities that never appeared in their show, making you think, how the hell do they make new attacks with model kits? But
I think it depends with the parts, because there's Gundam Build Fighters, Gundam Build Fighters Tri, then there was Divers, which is basically just think Sword Art Online.
Right, Sword Art Online with Gundam model kits, and the new one is called what was the new one called? Like Gundam Builders Gundam Builders, Gundam Build Divers something, I don't know. But there's currently 4. There's roughly 4 TV shows plus a few TV specials here and there. And it's become so popular that Bandai doesn't even make regular Gundam shows anymore. It's all focused on the Build series. And I can definitely see the appeal of the Build series. It's very, it's sort of like that Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of vibe, where it's like it's a toy commercial, but at the same time you're showing the kids enjoying the toys, which will make real kids want to build the real toys. And it makes sense that, like, from a budget perspective, to turn that into a live action project, because hey, it takes place in the real world, so you don't need a whole lot of special effects for that. You can just have a bunch of kids with real Gundam model kits, and then when they do the whole virtual battles, that's where all the budget will go to, the CG fights.
Yep.
And hey, it's virtual, so it doesn't have to look real.
Aaron Nizzle just says, "Give it to me now."
And Dan Williams said, "So wait, Gundam Build Fighters is basically Metabots?" Yeah, essentially.
Kinda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the Metabots
yeah.
are tiny, and they're in virtual arenas.
Yeah.
They're not real robots. No, they're real model kits that turn into virtual robots. That's why I mentioned the whole Yu-Gi-Oh thing.
Raiden?
I mean, I can't wait to see it. I mean, for me, I dig the Builders franchise. I mean, it gives Gundam more creativity. I mean, I respect that. But I would like another main series. Like the last main series that I kind of watched was Gundam Thunderbolt.
I still need to see that one.
Which one? The first or second one?
Both.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you won't. I think with that you won't regret it. But like I said, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this. So yeah, and like I said, we'd like to see another main Gundam show, because the last one they did was Iron Blooded Orphans, right?
Right, that was the last main Gundam show. Everything else has been either build related, or one of those like theatrical anime movies.
Okay, and it says I guess I see why they do that, so they won't suffer like writer's block, so they'll come up with new ideas and all that jazz. So, like I said, with the whole live action feature, looking forward to that. I mean, I would love another live action kick after watching RX-78-2 kill it in Ready Player One. So, bring on more live action, I suppose, the right way.
Yeah. And I do want to state that I did really love the first Build Fighters series. Build Fighters Try just felt like a rehash of the first Build Fighters, and I haven't seen any of the Diver stuff.
Yeah, I feel you on that. The first one was very really cool. Like Build Fighters Try, for me, I did like some of the fight scenes, but yeah, some of the characters I didn't really like.
Yeah, a lot of it just felt like we're just going through the motions. It's the same sort of like, oh hey, you're a new rival. Hey, I just beat my rival. Can't wait to fight you in the next tournament battle. Oh no, my rival has been beaten by a bigger, badder rival. Can't wait to fight him in the next tournament battle. Real rinse, lather, repeat.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, again, it's cool to see it the first time around, but after the second one, it's like, yeah, you're already sort of running around in circles now. You're already repeating yourselves.
So, like, Pacific Rim up yours then.
Oh! We don't talk about that movie.
Wonder what the third movie would get an adjective of. Kaiju was like, I know what I'm going to call this. Pacific Rim, fuck off.
Pacific Rim, go fuck yourself.
No.
More like Pacific Rim Job.
God damn it.
Just as well I put this on age restricted. Oh dear. Lids.
It sounds interesting. I know somewhere Oni is like screaming for joy. It's like, honey, we're going to this. I want this. Give it to me. I'm like, it's not out yet. I don't care. I want it.
Do it now.
Only screaming, but it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be worried or not. Because
Yes.
imagine him screaming like, "Eeeeee!" It's like, okay, go back to yelling.
Honestly, that's a little scarier than what L-Man has cooked up.
No, we don't talk about what Hellman likes to cook up. Never ends
Oh.
well. That man goes to places. And nightmare fuel. Tons and tons of nightmare fuel. Anything else to add to that, Lids?
No, not really. I think it's like it's interesting. It's like I'll look forward to when I get to actually see it. So who knows?
All right. On to next news. We're returning to wrestling a moment.
Oh God.
Yeah, this concerns WrestleMania.
Goody.
WWE reportedly changing WrestleMania 36 plans for John Cena, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, and Goldberg. It sounds like the WrestleMania 36 card is a massive state of flux. As of Sunday, April 5, the show in Tampa just has 2 matches confirmed. WWE Champion Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre and NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Which I'm going to say right now, mulligan. Don't care. In the past few weeks, matches like Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, and Cena versus Elias have all been reported. Cena versus Elias, here's the thing, WWE, that's not going to make me care enough to buy the network subscription for a month. Just saying. With the latter two coming up from the Wrestling News Observer. However, Dave Meltzer popped up on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio to report in the days since the latest issue published, the matches list and newsletter have already been changed. A lot's changed. The only matches I've written about have changed is Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, and John Cena and Elias. Meltzer said, but I believe there's about 5 or 6 matches that have changed in total, but those are other matches I haven't reported yet. When asked if the changes mean Goldberg was beating Wyatt at this Thursday's Super Showdown event, when I heard this change, obviously that's the first thing you'd think of. Meltzer said. He added that every SmackDown related match was at least in danger of changing, including Bayley versus Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Meanwhile, over on the Raw side, Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler have already started their program for the Raw Women's title. Randy Orton has been keeping his feud with Edge going while the latter is off television, with AJ Styles has been dropping hints that he'll take on The Undertaker as the self-proclaimed new Mr. WrestleMania. Bye, Styles. It was nice knowing ya. Meltzer made no mention of any of those matches changing. In the meantime, WWE has its next pay-per-view Super Showdown in Riyadh. Yeah, Riyadh. This coming Thursday. Check out the full card below. Brock Lesnar defends the WWE title against Ricochet by Ricochet.
Don't care.
Universal title Bray Wyatt versus Goldberg. I'm picking Goldberg.
Mulligan that.
I know, dude. SmackDown Women's title Bayley versus either Carmella or Naomi.
I'd be open with either option. I mean, I'm pulling for Naomi, but
Naomi.
I have a problem with Carmella. I don't have a problem with Carmella.
Whoever gets the shot, either one of you, do me a solid. Shut Karen up and take the title.
I want to speak to your next punch. No.
Raw Tag Team titles, Seth Rollins and Murphy versus the Street Profits. I don't care. SmackDown Tag Team titles, The New Day versus The Miz and John Morrison. Okay, I actually somewhat care. New Day. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. Mulligan.
Mulligan, no one cares.
AJ Styles versus Andrade versus Bobby Lashley versus Eric Rowan versus R-Truth versus Rusev. Gauntlet match. For what?
A trophy? I don't know.
Bragging rights? I don't know.
No, we don't want that to come back.
What? No, you're right. No. I wasn't talking about the pay-per-view.
That's too late. That's too late. It already was replaced by Survivor Series.
Ah.
Cena will make his
You
return.
know I'm right.
Cena will make his return to WWE television the following night on Friday Night SmackDown. Well, you know, we narc on Cena, but at least with him, we know what we're getting.
Yeah, I mean,
So, they're suggesting for. I had a feeling. I had a feeling it was going to feature somehow Reigns and Goldberg for the Universal title. Freaking knew it. Like I said, with Charlotte and Ripley, I mean, no disrespect to Rhea Ripley, I haven't seen her wrestle, so you know the reason for me giving a mulligan is not because of her; it's just because I've had enough of Charlotte.
I think a lot of people have,
Being
especially she's Rhea's entitled, honey. Pot meat kettle before we start calling who's who entitled, honey.
I mean, wasn't it your father who nudge nudge wink wink got you some of your title shots because he's besties with Triple H? Wink wink wink.
Thank you, Daddy.
I hate the fact that Oni did that. It's like, thank you, Daddy. It's like, never do that again. Especially when the daddy happens to be Ric Flair. I mean, that could be taken in so many creepy ways. Please pray Odie never says that to you, Lids.
Oh, no. He says that, I'm walking out the door.
And like I say, Cena versus Elias, sorry, no. That's not going to make me care. AJ Styles versus Undertaker. I appreciate they got to put somebody up for Taker to have at Mania, but
honestly, I'll take that over Sting. I mean, at least with AJ, despite, you know, he's getting up there in age, a guy can still go and Taker, and he'll have to help Taker do some things. So with that, I'm okay with it. I wish it happened in 2017, but no, we got Reigns.
because fuck you, that's why.
Basically.
Well, if that's what they're going to have for the card this year, I'm holding a huge question mark of whether to get the network again for Mania, because the only reason I tune in for Mania now, because it's the only pay-per-view that I watch each year, because the Rumble is all but dead for me, and from what I heard,
I can understand.
And from what I heard, that for this year, it wasn't worth that much either.
It really wasn't.
Last year's SummerSlam wasn't that great. Although I heard Survivor Series might have been worth checking out.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I mean, despite the convoluted triple threat traditional Survivor Series match, it was still pretty entertaining. You know.
Well, it's the only way you can have Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT in a match set up.
I'm right.
But the only reason I tune in for Mania is, you know, just so I can hang out in Discord with you guys, because watching the pay-per-view when you've got company, that's when it takes a life onto itself, even though during WrestleMania 34, Lids and Wayne had to say occasionally, MJ, you're awake. I'm awake. Oh, it's Brock Lesnar. I was like, damn it, he's going back to sleep.
Yeah, that was me. That was me last year. It's like I think it was me, you, Liz, and Win. We were watching the event, and oh man, I was on the brink of sleep on how long that shit was.
Especially during it's up on my YouTube channel for everyone to see. Throughout most of the 2017 Royal Rumble, I just conked out.
I remember.
And it was only towards the end I suddenly hear, I hear voices. I'm like, wait. It's like, Orton's run the one, Cena's champion. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Oh, let's not forget a reaction when number 30 hit.
Oh no. Who was number 30 that year?
Roman Reigns.
Oh god, you remember seeing the reaction videos for that? Bloody
Yes.
I saw so many of them, and it's like,
They
fuck
were,
you, fuck you.
back then we're cringing, but now I'm laughing.
The one, because I did the 2016 one, I regret not picking number 30 because I had been saying for a while, I've got a funny feeling that Triple H is going to be number 30 and he's going to win it. I would have loved it if I had picked number 30 and you hear, Dan, time to play the game. You hear only like, what the hell? Oh. I saw it coming a mile away. I thought, wait a minute. Triple H and Roman Reigns are clashed at Survivor Series. Starts thinking ahead to WrestleMania. It's like, oh no. But then again, they had major injury problems at the time, so they had to do something. So I suppose the least worst thing they could do was put the belt on Triple H again. Then again, it was either that or give Cena another title reign. Everyone's like, no.
Nah.
It's not like they could have put it on Shane, because that was an idea at one stage.
What?
Oh yeah, at one stage they were talking about putting the WWE title on Shane.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that, WWE. I love him, but no, don't do it. Don't do it. Just no.
Raiden, thoughts on the reveal for the WrestleMania 36 card thus far, and is it going to make you hyped enough to watch it?
I'm gonna be completely honest. After last year, I don't know how long to take it at this point. Like, if there's 1 or 2 matches, I'll watch. But if the whole card doesn't surprise me, this might be the first time I was like, I might skip. You know, so. But all I gotta say is this: if it ain't got the Kabuki Warriors, or if it doesn't have my man Aleister Black, I ain't watching. Simple as that.
Because that's the other problem as well. Mania is just getting far too long now. I mean, it was one thing when they went to 4 hours for the first time in 2001, just so that the matches don't feel so compressed. They're spaced out enough so that they have time to breathe. You have time to absorb the characters and what have you. But 5 hours is too long for a pay-per-view. I mean,
it depends with the matches itself, because like Wrestle Kingdom this year did 2 nights, and yeah, I mean, as long as the match quality is good, that's good enough for me. I mean, yes, I might miss some of it because I'll be sleeping. I mean, yeah, there's a detriment to that, but as long as you can check it out, after it'll be worth it. But I don't know, when it comes to WWE, man, it's just filler that you don't need, you know. So that's my main concern with it, you know. Especially how 2 women's title matches. I ain't gonna lie, I'm calling a big ass mulligan on those. I can care less. I mean, no disrespect to Rhea Ripley. I mean, I've seen what she can do, and I praise her for finally ending that train wreck of a title reign Shayna Baszler had. But yeah, I don't know if I could take another Charlotte World.
Now Shayna's a vampire, apparently.
Huh.
What?
Not
Oh yeah, I saw that. I died laughing at that one.
So they're just basically recycling Ariel's character. Nice.
or they're forming the new Brood with Shayna.
I mean, off topic. Vince said it himself. He doesn't like a blood and guts company, and then blood and guts company, a shot to AEW, and then I see that, and like, congratulations, you played yourself. Fake blood or not. Because that shit was super fake, especially with the blood. What the crap was that? Like, I get it, Shane is tough, but come on, don't overdo it.
But you know they will.
I know.
Lids.
To be perfectly frank, I'm really not interested in what's going on down the pipeline at WrestleMania. I'm like, it's the Royal Rumble was fun, but I didn't exactly get the outcome I wanted. McIntyre being in the main event, good for him. Charlotte getting the rub again, I don't care for, so it doesn't matter. Anything that's been announced is like, I honestly don't care. I mean, if AJ gets to face the Undertaker, fine. Like, if we're gonna start putting people over, take one for the team, put AJ over. But if not, it's like, why are you here? You are too old for this shit. Just please leave. Retire like you were supposed to do, but no. John Cena wanted his big main event. He wanted to face the Undertaker. I'm sorry, but that whole thing happened. That business at WrestleMania did not sit well with me. That business of him, of Cena whining and complaining because he couldn't face the Undertaker. I don't care. I really don't. I'm sorry. Just WrestleMania has become really pointless to me. It's like I don't care. I honestly don't.
And here's the thing. Cena versus Taker is something that should have happened 10 years before that match happened, because don't get me wrong, Cena's still in great ring shape, but it's like
I mean, the thing is with Cena, I can still deal with him in the match. Like, if you watch matches with him against AJ, Rusev, you know the guy has updated his game. So like, I can still watch some of those. Like, I still go back and watch his SummerSlam encounter with AJ. Same for his Royal Rumble 2017 match, even though the results had me a certain way.
But you know, Taker is 55 this year. Yeah. Here's the thing, and I've said this for verbatim. Since 2010, there's something about that match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 26. Undertaker did not come out of that match the same man. Something happened.
I mean, here's the crazy thing. The recently retired, I think I mentioned this last week, Jushin, the legendary Japanese wrestler Jushin Thunder Liger, is 55. And he looks in great shape, and the way it is, he can still go. I mean, the thing is, I think genetics are a little bit more different in some countries, and he recently retired. So what can you say about the Undertaker now? It's weird.
No, I mean, I remember Solomonster when he was commenting on why Triple H was never the man, was never the face of the company, or was never the guy. I mean, great student and master of the game. But, this is one of the few times you agree with John Cornette. Triple H is the guy who worked with the guy that drew money. And, he had like the comparisons like, with Undertaker, and said, the train wreck of a match they had at King of the Ring 2002. Whereas, they've talked over time, Undertaker has actually had better matches as he's gotten older, and it's not supposed to work like that. He's a freak of nature, and Taker has had much better matches as he's gotten older, because the man has adapted and learned to be able to have new styles that is able to keep up with the younger talent. But I think Father Time has caught up with him, because you can do things whereby you're savvy enough to know that there's things that you're not able to do anymore or so often. Like you only pull out these higher risk moves, like Taker doing the swan dive over the top ropes. We know he only does that sparingly anyhow, but he adopted like the mixed martial art thing, particularly with like kickboxing and what have you, just to be able to keep up and to be able to stay in the game. But I notice with his left leg, he is walking with a major limp more than ever, and I think maybe where he's had his hip replaced 3 times, that to me is the telltale signs. Like, Taker, I think someone needs to have the talk with you. I mean, he's in great, he looks like he's in great shape, but there's there's great shape and then there's ring shape, and he hasn't been ring fit. Probably not since 2010. I mean, even going into those matches with CM Punk, I mean, I remember watching a promo where Taker was talking about he was the one who built his domain, and the people that are in that domain always call him Sir. He looked so pale in his cheeks. I'm like, Taker, what's wrong with you? It just looked like that he wasn't all there. I mean, when I say not all there, I don't mean mentally, but physically he just looked so off colour. And I know it's the same thing with WrestleMania 27. And even Oni has said this when he's watched the match back. There was something off about him, and I can't put my finger on it, but you look at things like where he faced Edge at Mania 24 and then faced Shawn Michaels at 25 and 26 respectively. The man was moving at lightning pace, which is weird for, at that time, a guy in his mid-40s, but the man could go some. But then you see 27 onwards, something's not there. And let's not even talk about that train wreck of a Hell in a Cell match at Mania 28. Ugh.
Yeah, that shit was trash, let's be fair.
Although, I'll give the man this. At 29, and this is probably more down to CM Punk than him, the match he had with Punk at 29 was one of the best he had had in years. But then again, CM Punk is one of those guys, he can make the other guy look better. And that was decent. And then Brock happened. I think more... Go on.
Off topic, it's just crazy to see a parallel when it comes to legends in wrestling, mainly from the U.S. to many countries, like in Mexico and Japan, because Great Muta is 57, and after he got surgery on both knees, he got out of retirement and did a couple of matches. I mean, yeah, he can't like wrestle like he used to, but I don't know. It's something about the drive, especially how Japan has always had the fighting spirit within. And I don't know. It's when you see that in the U.S., it's more of a payday. I mean, it's kind of sort of the same in Japan, but like it's more of the fighting spirit and passion. And it's just really sad to see that a wrestler that I loved watching back then is reduced to something that you don't recognize anymore.
Yeah. But considering this is his 30th year, by the time he gets to Survivor Series, I think more than ever, that's the point where they say, come on man, enough's enough. Because he hardly wrestles that often now anyhow. And, now's the time more than ever to call it a day, because he's had 7 world title reigns. Personally, I think he should have had 3 times that amount, but that's neither here nor there. He's given so much to the business. I think it's time they actually gave back to him and let him just have like one last decent blowout at Survivor Series, and that's where this time he leaves the hat, the coat, and the gloves in the ring and goes out dignified, because I just feel like they only put him on for Mania just to get tickets and just to get people in attendance, which is a shame because I think he deserves more than that. But again, that's neither here nor there. Alright, we'll consider that one crossed through. Let's see what to do. Let's go with this one next.
Oh, by the way, has anyone seen photos of the stuntman wearing the Batman gear?
I've seen like brief images, but
I've seen it.
No.
I mean, if you want my take on it, I kind of sort of like it. I mean, yeah, it's not Robert Pattinson in the full blown suit, but I don't know, something about like the tactical look of the bat suit always intrigued me, especially when you check out the Nolan version of Batman. I mean, it definitely reminds me of the suit that Batman wore in the video game Arkham Origins.
I can kind of see that. Especially with the fact that it's made from a gun.
yeah.
I saw that, I'm like, are we serious? Are we really doing this?
Well,
Did the CPD let you go into the evidence locker and pull out that gun, Bruce? Really? We're saying that gun is the same gun that killed his parents. So
I get the symbolism, and in a way, yeah, it's weird, but it's a little symbolism, especially of why he does it, in a sense.
Didn't get the actual link for that. Okay, here we go. That's more like it. Alright. This is from MovieWeb. The Simpsons Movie 2 won't be a sequel, if it ever happens. Disney owns The Simpsons now, don't remind us. And what they do with it beyond the upcoming already locked-in seasons is anyone's guess. The Simpsons Movie 2 has been talked about since the original landed in theatres back in 2007. Yet 13 years later, we're now closer to seeing a sequel than we were back then. Now, in a new interview, producer Al Jean offers an update on what is happening with The Simpsons' return to the big screen. So will we ever see Homer, Bart, Marge, Lisa and Maggie making a trip back to the local megaplex? The hope is that, yes, The Simpsons movie does get a sequel, but it could still be very far away, and guess what? It won't really be a sequel to the first big movie, which makes complete sense. Instead, this will be a standalone entry in The Simpsons canon. Perhaps the movie 2 will go straight to Disney+. Please don't do that. I actually want to go to the theatre. Disney's new streaming app, which has proven to be quite popular. Well, when it ever gets to the UK. Though this is a big franchise for them, and to properly cash in, they'd probably want to bring it to theatres before debuting on this streaming platform. Or at least one would think that would be the case. When asked if Disney has any interest, streaming or otherwise, in moving forward with The Simpsons Movie 2, producer Al Jean offers this insight into the production process. I would say yes, although we're just in the very, very early stages. We would love to do one for Disney, but it's not like it's happening next week or next year. At D23, Matt said, I think it's going to happen, and I agree with that. So I agree with that statement. I believe it will happen. The Simpsons Movie 2 won't be a quick cash grab. Al Jean promises that the movie will only happen if they have a story that needs to be told on the big screen, which is why it's taken 13 years to even get talks revved up. He says this about the importance of finding material for The Simpsons that will be movie-worthy, and the fact that the process is not any easier when with one movie already, having been finished to great acclaim. It's never easier, this I'm sure of. We'll only do it if this is an idea that we thought deserved being made into another movie. We certainly don't need to have more Simpsons out there just for the money or to have additional material. We would do it if we thought it was a great story and we wanted to tell it. When asked if the next movie would be a standalone movie instead of a sequel, Algene offered one simple word: correct. So don't expect the return of Spider-Pig. Or maybe do, who knows. We've been talking about this for so long it would be a miracle if it ever happens. When Disney bought Fox, they expressed their interest in more Simpsons projects, be they movies or spin-offs, so we'll have to wait to see what the future has in store for America's favorite yellow family. This story originated at /film. A Simpsons sequel. I tend to reflect what Al has said there. It's got to be the right story to be able to carry it over, because they went through like so many years of redrafts and redrafts and redrafts just for the first movie, because they wanted to make sure the first movie was imperfect, because they wanted to have it to have quirks and charms and what have you, and I believe it did that. I do feel like in places the first movie feels basically like an overextended version of the TV series. Homer does something stupid, the family goes on the run, having to pay for his mistakes. Then Homer tries to fix the situation. It's just like it's a good story, but you feel like you've seen it before, though. And Dan, that is so dark. What the hell? Bart, what are you doing, Apu? Apu, taking one last good look at my friends.
My friends. Oh no.
Oh,
Too soon.
That's dark.
No.
That's dark, dude.
Oh.
I'm still annoyed by that. By the way.
Well, they say that he got cancelled because he's a stereotype. It's like, right, let's actually look at this a second. He has a doctorate in computing science. He holds down a steady job, and he looks after his wife and kids. Where's the stereotype?
The fact that he's a convenience store owner and he's got a silly voice.
I'll grant you on him being the head clerk of a convenience store. I'll grant you that, because that is a bit cliche, especially in these times. But I've always found his character to be charming, and there are a few times where he's actually, I don't want to say enlightening, because that could get taken the wrong way, but there are times where he'll say something and it makes you think. One example being when Lisa becomes a vegetarian, and he remarks when she says, he goes, cheese, like, it's like, you don't eat cheese, Apu? No, never eat any milk from an animal. It's like, oh, then you must think I'm a monster. Yes, but rather than badger my beliefs, I've learned to tolerate, be tolerant. You can actually get more of an effect over by listening and just listen, to what they have to say. All right, it's not the exact quotation, but it's pretty much paraphrased. It's when he says things like that, you kind of think he's actually right. I mean, yeah, you can badger people with your beliefs, but is it going to get you anywhere? I don't think so. Steven says, oh, by the way, listen, SJWs, you should be slamming Family Guy. He is not wrong.
Yeah, and that show has not not what it used to be either.
Because the thing I've noticed ever since, I want to say season 6 or season 7 of Family Guy, they have gone filthy to the point I'm just like, why do I even bother?
I mean, for me, I don't mind the filthiness. It is what it is. Like, if you want to do what you got to do what you got to do.
Steven says they do things the Simpsons wouldn't touch, and one of the characters literally a sum of abuse. Ugh. Yeah, a lot of people complain about the way Brian is now. I haven't watched the show in ages, mainly because I just had a disinterest.
Same here. I feel like at this point they're just trying way too hard to be shocking by making everyone into an unlikable asshole. It's not just Brian anymore.
I mean,
Stewie's always been a douche, but I mean, okay. Honestly, the only character I like is Stewie and Meg. Yeah, Meg. I know.
Meg. Only because
I mean, the episode where there was a storm where Meg basically roasted everyone on how bad they treated her and talked about her own faults. I still love to this day, especially what she did to Lois. I loved every bit of that.
Yeah. And then, she goes and walks off, and she gets replaced by somebody else on a reality show, and then because the rest of them decide to walk, of all people that plays Lois, they got Fran Drescher. Oh, Peter, you got drunk and fell asleep in front of everyone. She goes, ugh, I do not sound like that. And you get the Olsen twins as Stewie and Brian. I'm like, wait, what? That felt weird. But yeah, I've not had any real interest in Family Guy for years because, as Kaiju said, they're just trying too hard.
Way too hard.
Just watch Bob's Burgers instead.
Yeah, that's
much better.
That's a superior show, and all the characters are definitely likable.
Yeah. Tina is my spirit animal.
The only thing I can say for trying too hard, it's probably better to try too hard than to try too little.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, Louise is my spirit animal.
Raiden, would you want to see a Simpsons sequel? And what could they do that they haven't done already?
Honestly, I have no friggin' idea. They'll probably take a storyline somewhere and just like overlap it or whatever. But if I'm being completely honest, I am so over the Simpsons now. It's at the point it's oversaturated, and what else can you do with the franchise now? Like, some stuff is just not what it used to be now. Like, the way they got rid of Apu is like it's basically hollow at this point. They're just basically running on fumes.
Yeah. I remember something my brother said years ago. What they should have allowed The Simpsons to do at one stage was take a break for, say, 3 years. Make the audience miss it. And plus it would have allowed the actors to, go off and do other things for a while, because some actors actually grow and progress when they go off and do other projects for a while. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed RDJ for what he did as Iron Man, but he went off and did other movies besides Iron Man and the Avengers because, well, he's got other stories to tell as an actor. But I think with regards to just the writers and the actors, if you gave them, say, 2.5 years where The Simpsons weren't making any new episodes just to make the audience think, oh, where are the Simpsons? Where's the new Simpsons episode? And then 2.5 years later, boom, brand new episodes come up where they've had time to to recharge. They feel refreshed. They're raring to go. It's like, okay, you guys are actually getting into this. You actually, I've actually got the spark again. But it's been consistent for 31 years. This December, it's like, what more stories can you possibly tell? And from what I've been hearing, they've altered the characters to the point where Lisa and Marge are basically feminists, and by extension, not the good kind.
Mm-hmm. To be honest with Marge, she's always the type of person to ruin a lot of people's fun. Like, she got rid of MMA. She tried to try to start a band with violent.
Only burlesque house. Excuse me.
Really?
Oh, that was like what, 97, 98 when
or the time where in the video game Simpsons Hit and Run, she got Homer to destroy like half of all the copies of Bone Storm 2.
Here's the thing with Marge's character. At her basic core, she's a decent human being that just wants everybody to get along and everyone to be civil. The problem is with that, she basically wants to sanitize everything where nobody swears, nobody does anything uncouth. And that's not reality. I mean, I'm not one for over-the-top profanity in entertainment, but I know it happens, and I know some people like that. And I just feel like with the way that her character has been, it's getting to the point where her character is almost Orwellian, which is disturbing in its own right. And apparently Homer is now Jerk Homer.
Oh, Peter Griffin, basically.
See, with Peter Griffin, you get it. Because
it's Peter Griffin.
He's an ass that doesn't know any better. Whereas Homer, he was an innocent character. He didn't know better. So that's where you could learn to get over it and what have you. But when you turn Homer into basically Simpsons' version of Peter Griffin, then it's not so fun anymore. Because with Homer, if he did something wrong, he would go out of his way to fix it. Peter Griffin doesn't.
Kind of like what he did in the Simpsons movie.
Yeah, exactly. Homer realized he screwed up, and he went out of his way to fix everything, and he did. He mended fences with Bart. He got Marge's trust back, and in the end, he rode off into the sunset with her. But yeah, I mean, I was a huge Simpsons fan growing up, probably more late 90s and early 2000s, but I don't know what it is, but ever since like season 12, it's just going through the motions. That's not fun. Lids, same question to you. What would you want to see from a Simpsons 2, and would it even be worth seeing?
To be perfectly honest, I think the first Simpsons movie was just fine. It didn't need it doesn't need a sequel. At this point, just end the series and be done with it. But they're not going to do that because Disney now owns the rights to it, and they're going to milk that cow. Money. Yeah, exactly. They're going to milk that cow, that already dead cow, until it's dry bones, and they're going to turn it into a freaking effigy of pointlessness. There. It's just it's tiresome. I'd rather watch something else, and I do not want to waste my time if they make a sequel because I'm not going to go see it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of its audience kind of shrank a long time ago, so it is what it is. But it's like I'm burnt out on The Simpsons at this point. I think a lot of us are.
Kaiju.
The Simpsons. Well, for me personally, I always grew up in. I grew up in one of those households that where my parents never allowed my sister and I to watch The Simpsons, so I never. I grew up with The Simpsons within the pop culture zeitgeist, and I would see clips of Simpsons here and there, but it was never something that I watched religiously. And by the time I became old enough to watch The Simpsons, I was instead growing up with South Park. So I never had that like Simpsons burnout moment that other people had, simply because I never really grew up with it, really. And so, but I do understand the sentiment that so many people have with the series, as it is something that I had with Family Guy, which ironically was a show that I did grow up with instead of The Simpsons. And I was always growing up with the shows that came out after The Simpsons as opposed to The Simpsons itself, but The Simpsons was always there in the background that I always had like minor exposure to consistent exposure to. But yeah, I can see where people had issues with the series. And yeah, for a show that was meant to make fun of 80s family sitcoms, it's kind of bizarre to see the show outlive the very thing that was supposed to mock. And so yeah, I remember watching a Super Eye Patch Wolf's video on what happened to The Simpsons over time, and it's a very brilliant video that I highly recommend anyone to check out. And so it is curious to see this show struggling to find an identity, where instead of just kind of sticking to its guns and kind of sort of making fun of, like, you know, family sitcoms, even heck you can also probably have like maybe have The Simpsons make fun of modern day family sitcoms, but no, instead it's just here's the latest wacky adventures for Homer and his family, or here is a celebrity guest appearance on the show. But yeah, it's you can only do that for so long with characters who are not supposed to change. And when you have a series where the characters are not supposed to change and you've already had them do everything they can possibly do, yeah, you're left with a very incredibly stale show at that point. So I don't really see what they can do with a new movie other than do some big adventure again, but on with a bigger budget than usual.
Yeah, as you say, because you know the the only thing where the characters have changed, because I think in a season 2 episode, Homer does actually state outright that he's 34 years old, and then you know many years later, there's an episode that starts with him calling a tow truck on because you know the car had broken down. He states he's 43, so him and Marge have changed and aged along the way, but the kids are still their respective ages from where they were from when they began, with the lone exception of the future episode Bartolthood, which I actually liked that as an episode because I actually got to see Bart from a different perspective and actually see him grow up finally with, you know, a deep emotional connection he had with Abe Simpson. But other than
was Lisa the president in that episode?
No.
Oh no, that's a different episode. I think they were basically ripping off the movie Boyhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, just seeing this emotional connection that he had with Abe Simpson, and that he, you know, was able to find something more fulfilling through him than he would with any other member in his family, which led to him, you know, starting his own custom bike shop, which was, you know, Grandpa Simpson, you know, Abe Simpson and grandson incorporated bikes or something of that nature. And that was actually, one of the few decent episodes in the modern times where I'm like, okay, you guys are actually trying again. Good on you. But no, in recent years, aside from that lone one, is rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And when someone comes out and says, oh, the 20th season's out on DVD, I'm like, I don't care. I really, really could care less. I mean, I give a damn about the older stuff with things like the early Christmas specials and things like Krusty Gets Cancelled and Flaming Moe's, which I think are some of the best episodes ever written, simply because the wacky hijinks that they had in the mid to late 90s, that was when it was at its best, because nobody had really tried that in animation, in primetime animated sitcoms. But then you saw it happen more often throughout the 2000s with them, Family Guy, and South Park, and you're just like, you should only bring those sort of things out every so often, because otherwise the novelty wears off. And considering the show hit its 30th anniversary last December, for me, either take a break for a while or end it. Because I don't know if you saw the clip of Mr. Burns saying how it feels good to be booed. Although Harry Shearer can still go, you can tell that his voice is struggling with the Mr. Burns portrayal now. Whereas before, he would have like a full solid performance. Now it feels like he's only able to go so far, which he has to have a specific honey put in his drink, whether it's tea or coffee, just to be able to keep his voice smooth and just to do the voice of Burns, because that's the one that gives his throat the most trouble. So, yeah, I'd like to see a sequel, but I'd rather they not leave it as long as they did with the first movie, because, it did take their sweet time in just being able to get there. So yeah, we'll put a big cross through that one. Time for something that may be amusing.
Go on.
Hang on, I can get to...
Hey!
Venom 2 behind-the-scenes photos show Tom Hardy, Woody Harrelson, and Andy Serkis on set. There's certainly a deluge of comic book movies that are still set to hit theaters next year, including a lot of highly anticipated superhero sequels. Excuse me. One project with an interesting place on that list is Venom 2, the follow-up to Sony's 2018 Spider-Man spin-off. Production on the film has been underway for several weeks now, and social media has provided some pretty artsy looks at what has been entailed. Photographer Greg Williams recently shared several behind-the-scenes photos from the film's set, which features Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson at work. And you just see... Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Venom 2 will be returning to... We'll see Tom Hardy returning to his role as Eddie Brock, the reporter who is reluctantly bonded with an alien symbiote named Venom. Harrison will also be portraying Cletus Cassidy Carnage in the film, a character that fans are very curious to see on the big screen. You know what? When you hear Venom, forget Venom. When you hear Carnage, the only thing you think of is R. But if you know his story, if you really know the comic, there's no R here. Producer Avi Arad explained in 2018. He's a tortured soul. It's not about what he does, because we never have to show the knife going from here to here and the blood is pouring. What you have to show is, what is the motivation? Was he born like that? Or it's someone we should feel for? Because if you're succeeding to make a villain someone you can feel for, jackpot. Why not just make a villain evil because he's evil? Not all villains have to be sympathetic. Circus.
Oh no, Carnage is nothing but it's not sympathetic at all. You're
Nope.
not supposed to be
Nope.
sympathizing with crazed murderer.
Yeah, he did some messed up shit.
Circus, a fan favorite actor thanks to his motion capture work like with Lord of the Rings, Planet of the Apes, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi, will be stepping behind the camera and bringing a unique perspective to the sequel. He's a great director, but he's also an actor, and he's played inside monsters, and he sort of understands character from inside, producer Matt Tolmack previously explained. It's been wild to watch him with Hardy because they speak the language that only actors understand, particularly people like Tom Hardy and what it's like to be in this other character from another realm. He's like a mystical figure, Andy Serkis. When he's around people, you feel his presence. He was having Tom do really well, and so we got to know him actually through Tom. He's going to be special. It's a really great connection. What do you think of the newest set photos from Venom 2? Share us with your thoughts in the comments below. The fact that we've got Carnage in the follow-up, you know things are going to go awry. Because Carnage is one of those characters... Damn. Sean Retro says he's just crazy. Well, that's one way of looking at it. The fact that Andy Serkis is going to be directing, that does give me a lot of hope for it, just to see what they can build upon from the last movie. But, as a wise rogue once said, the proof in the pudding is in the eating. I'll give my thoughts and opinions when I go to see the movie. The only thing I will say is try and keep Aviarod's influence out of that movie too much, because I feel like he clouds the director's vision a little bit, because this is the guy that still seems to think, oh, people want to see the romance in a Spider-Man movie. No, we just want to see Spidey go around chasing bad guys and swinging on webs. You know, we've seen the whole romance thing, and quite honestly, it feels tiresome now. Steven says, Carnage, I'll wait till we get a trailer. That's fair. As for Carnage being sympathetic, no, he's not sympathetic. Even the 90s animated series was able to pick, to paint him as unsympathetic. I love the way that even Tony J's Baron Mordo reacts saying, Carnage, I like the sound of that. But then again, Tony J was just a fine voice actor. The guy they had as Cletus Cassidy, he gave Mark Hamill a run for his money for, being able to eat so much ham in one sitting.
Smoked or honey glazed?
Why not both? Hey, Win.
Hey.
Hello.
Raiden, thoughts on Cletus Cassidy, thoughts on the fact that they're trying to paint him as a sympathetic villain, and what would you want to see from a Venom 2?
Cletus Cassidy. Sympathetic. Nigga, what you smoking? The fuck? I'm like...
There's probably
You're saying?
It's probably some good shit.
Good lord. Man, okay. I'll get to that when I'm done. I'll get to that later. Them two, that's definitely gonna be interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do with this movie, but I don't know. I guess it's more of how how Eddie and the symbiote will work together more. Maybe there'll be more like control conflicts, especially how like I don't know. I think the way I see it, when Cletus gets the symbiote, he will definitely try to coerce Eddie to do more evil deeds, and I don't know, maybe after that we'll get the movie Venom and Carnage. That I think that's the way I see it. Maybe I don't know, or maybe the other way around, that Eddie and the symbiote will definitely like coerce him to be more. I think that's where the sympathetic thing comes into play, but I don't know. Carnage is a sympathetic figure. Like I ain't even gonna mention the shit he did when in his youth, especially how we have the adorable Win here and Navi. Because oh man, if you see the origin of Cletus Cassidy, oh lord, he's done some evil shit.
Let's mention what he did to a cat.
Oh, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah.
I'd rather you didn't.
Yeah. I'm going to say good luck, because you try to make a psycho killer more sympathetic. Yeah, that's more far-fetched than having Nikki Bella try to conceive a baby with John Cena. And yes, people, that's my one per list. I don't care if she's going to get inducted or not. I'm still going to roast the fuck out of her. It's common knowledge at this point. So yeah, final statements. Good luck trying to make Carnage sympathetic, because yeah, that's a long road you're not gonna get through. And with the movie itself, I'm with Steve on this one. I just want to see a trailer, especially how I want to see how crazy Carnage is gonna look. That's my main thing.
Crazy Carnage. That sounds like a really wacky 80s sitcom series. Lids.
I mean, it's really, you're gonna try to make him sympathetic. Do you read the comics? Because he doesn't need to be sympathetic. He is a walking psychopath. He like when that whole thing of when a kid kills an animal, that means they're gonna be a serial killer. Yeah, Cletus is kind of turned up to 11. Like, and let's not even forget what he did to his grandmother. Let's not talk about that, because, oh boy. The point is, you're trying to make a character sympathetic when no sympathy is required here. He is a force of nature. And if he gets the symbiote, that's a problem. Or a symbiote. Just...
Because Venom at the very least...
Yeah, until I see the trailer, I will make an opinion on the movie, but until then, why? Just why?
Because Venom in this incarnation, at the very least, is, well, it's a very different take on the character for him to not to have a thing against humanity, whereas with this one, he's just like, me and Eddie just going to go have fun and just, only devour evil people. Which, in its own way, is kind of messed up, but, he's not being a murdering psychopath, because the banter between him and Eddie is actually what made that movie. Although, like when I still laugh so hard where it just goes, jump, pussy. Oh god, it's like you said, when I was not expecting him to be that much of a dick.
I post a gut during that. It's like, holy shit, while he isn't evil, I love the fact that they compromised by making him a dick.
Pussy!
Jump.
And of course, Navi jumps on the couch thinking you meant pussycat. Huh. Hi, Navi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Kaiju, same question to you. What do you think for a Venom sequel and the very notion of trying to make Carnage sympathetic?
I'm not going to repeat myself because, what everyone else has said, but rather I'm just trying to see what led them come to this. And yeah, it's a very typical sort of Hollywood move, because I assume that they want to bring in Carnage for perhaps another. They want to keep Carnage around for the next several movies if this ever becomes a full blown movie franchise, and I can see them wanting to make Carnage sympathetic as a means of making him somewhat of an anti-hero, or building him up to be sort of rival for him. And it's kind of like the go-to thing to do with any sort of villainous character now, because now sympathetic characters are characters with understandable goals. That's like the hot thing to do right now. Look no further than Thanos. Thanos was just an evil dude who wanted to kill everyone just to appease his love interest. But instead, they're like, nah, that's not relatable enough. We gotta make it look like Thanos is doing good for the universe. And so they made him far more sympathetic than he's ever been in the comics. And hey, it worked, because a lot of people like that version of Thanos, the movie version, the MCU version of Thanos. And so with Carnage, it's like, how do we flesh out Carnage as opposed to being just a serial killer? And I guess giving him a sympathetic backstory, or some sort of like, oh, my parents were killed when I was a young age, and that's why I've been so fucked up ever since. Whatever they'll do with Carnage, it seems like a very basic, typical Hollywood move, like a very easy, lazy move for them to provide you a reason to like Carnage or care about Carnage. Because I know comic fans, they love Carnage because he's a crazy psychopathic killer who is like the perfect foil for someone like Spider-Man or Venom to fight. And in this case, maybe they're not comfortable with that fact. They're not comfortable with having a unsympathetic serial killer as a character they want to promote in a movie. So to them, for these Hollywood executives, maybe they think going the sympathetic route is a way of making the character more marketable for mainstream audiences. But yeah, it's rather baffling that they would do that. And I hope it works works out for them. But makes me really question what this version of Carnage will turn out to be. I mean, it's better than what Ultimate Carnage was.
I won't even ask.
He is Carnage devours Gwen Stacy, and then somehow becomes Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
And then Gwen Stacy essence separates from Carnage. So Carnage was, as the last I heard, was its own thing, while this like weird clone Carnage Gwen Stacy is just living the life of regular Gwen Stacy from there on out.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that freaked me out when I read how was she alive, especially when Miles Morales took the mantle of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Most of the Ultimate Universe was a mistake.
The Ultimate Universe was a mistake. When same question.
Ow, hey, bad kitty.
Navi.
Yeah, good boy.
He scratched me.
Navi. When same question to you. I mean, what do you hope for? Hope for in a sequel, and the very notion of making Cletus sympathetic.
Well, I hope they keep the banter between Eddie and Venom, because I do find it was a pretty awesome compromise to just make him a bit of a dick instead of evil. Because Eddie Brock you can't help but feel sorry for him in some scenarios, because the dude lost his livelihood for a while because of some Elon Musk light motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of in terms of making Carnage sympathetic, are you out of your fucking mind? He's a serial killer. That isn't that kind of bad press something you want to avoid? I guess it's a catch-22 either way if you kept him as an evil, sinister, maniacal bastard, because, of course, out of such news sources would try to find a way to paint this that it would spread some kind of plague of it'll influence people to want to become serial killers and be just like Carnage. And this movement of ideology and that move of ideology, but you're kind of gonna get that with the sympathetic route. So either way, if you want to kind of appeal to your general audience while not pissing off the comic book fans, I would just say keep him as evil. If you want to keep him longer, then how about instead of a giant F, you make a very appealing and engaging getaway scene. The villain doesn't always have to die in the first movie they're in. They can get away and come back and fight another day. Have you not watched Saturday morning cartoons or read comic books? There's a reason why cliche quotes like, "You haven't seen the last of me," exist.
I'll get you next time, He-Man!
I was waiting for that.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Joker, they turned him into a sympathetic character, so maybe they were potentially inspired by that.
He still shot and killed a bunch of people.
But he's sympathetic, so maybe that's what they want to do with Carnage.
Fair.
Alright, but they're still gonna get bad press regardless because of
I'm
Joker.
not saying it's a good idea. I'm just trying to rationalize what their decision.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just kind of agreeing. The notion's pretty absurd. Just because of the success of one movie doesn't mean that you have to copy it in every movie from going forward.
Or does it?
God damn it, Andres.
You never know.
Okay.
Just make it entertaining and try and keep him an evil bastard. But if you have to go the sympathetic route, at least don't half-ass it and make it make sense in some way. Hell, if you have to make him a more sympathetic and likable approach, maybe for a while, have it on Cletus, but if the symbiote gets away and Cletus somehow bites the bullet, then have it pass on to a different host. After all, there was a Lady Carnage for a while, and that run in the comics was actually pretty fucking good. I can't remember her name at the moment because I just got home from work, so my brain's fried, but if you have to insist on making Cletus bite the bullet and you want a sympathetic Carnage, then have it hop on to a different host that you can mold. Even if you have to just kind of create it yourself, but just if you have to create an OC, just don't go overboard. We already have enough Alice and Rays running around the movie industry as is.
Yeah. Especially at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where she goes, "I am Rey Skywalker." I didn't even see the movie, and I just went, "Oh, fuck off."
To be fair, it was kind of speculated that she would have been related to that, but of course, studio interference made Abrams rewrite the vision, which kind of sucks because that would have actually made some sense to why everything was going on the way it was. But nope, Kathleen Kennedy just can't keep her hands off the franchise.
I'll say this much is, not that this would happen, but if Lucasfilms suddenly had the rights to Knight Rider, I'd be like, you stay the fuck away from that. It's like, you ruined enough with Star Wars, leave Knight Rider alone. Last thing I want Kit to do is him to be giving lectures about the patriarchy. I do not need to hear my Trans Am say that. It's like, nope. Mm-mm. That'd be like Oni turning around one day and, becoming a hipster. Lid's would be like, you go right to your room this second, young man, and think about what you did. And just the idea of Oni with hipster glasses and going off to Starbucks coffee is like...
No, I grab him by the ear. It's like, no, young man, we're going to correct this behavior. Let's go.
Right now, he's going, God damn it, MJ.
There's another interesting topic. Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Stephanie Beatrice confirms she's not starring in She-Hulk.
Well,
Oh, disappointing.
Development on She-Hulk is well underway, and eventually Marvel Studios is going to have to cast the show's titular star. As with many other major star Marvel castings, each corner of the MCU fandom has its respective fan put up for the role. One of those prominent fan casting for Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk has been Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Stephanie Beatrice, someone who apparently isn't in the running for the role. Beatrice took to Twitter Sunday morning to share... Sorry, folks, I'm still dealing with a tickly cough. Herself as the gamma-infused superhero, reminding fans she's unable to be in the show due to her commitments on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But, how do I get my arms to actually look like this? Beatrice asked her followers, can someone give me a plan or something? Also, I think the show starts shooting in August, and I'm unavailable because we're shooting Season 8 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine at the same time, but I still am serious about the arms. And presumably there's... Whoa! Okay, that's actually not a bad look.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing
Hey, I like that.
Oh.
that. Yeah, it's a good look.
Mm-hmm.
The actor had previously said she died to play the iconic Marvel role. I definitely have upped my workout since reading some of those things, Bridges said in an interview last year. But also, I think it would be really exciting for fans to see some of these characters that we kind of decided are one thing to be sort of imagined in a different way. She-Hulk has yet to have a release date. I don't know. Just seeing that artwork on its own merits, that would actually be that'd be something. Oh, Dan Williams says the higher ups are really cross with Kennedy. Yes.
Is anyone surprised?
No.
Nope.
Dan says, I heard Kathleen Kennedy was forced to leave the set of The Mandalorian Season 2. Stephen Walker says...
Oh, speaking of that,
I like you.
Speaking of that, I did hear Sasha Banks is going to be in Season 2.
Huh.
Yeah,
I did hear that.
She would make a pretty awesome Felice, in my opinion.
Steven says, or when Disney buys Hasbro, I'll go full on insane. Knock on wood.
Oh, God, no.
Knock on wood
No.
right now.
Well, they have a pretty successful franchise in their hands, aside from Transformers, so I think Hasbro will be fine on its own for quite the while.
And of course,
Besides, if the day were somehow to happen, I'm pretty sure there would be various masses, and if worse comes to worse, we find the person responsible for even suggesting Disney buy Hasbro. We just stick him we just lock him in a room with Weavile and let him go to town.
and considering
Because Weavile loves his Hasbro.
Mm-hmm. And considering for Season 2 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers, for the first time since Forever Red, Jason returns.
Yee.
And it's going to be the team up of Mighty Morphin with Dino Thunder and Dino Chargers.
Oh, neat.
The one we wanted to see for, I think it was the 20th anniversary, and it never came to pass. Because they did the...
And they had the Sentai footage right there!
Because apparently it would have had the Megazord, the Dino Thunder Megazord, and the Dino Charger Megazord. It's like, come on, this is what we want to see. No, we want to do something else. Oh, you suck.
Well, that's because that was in the hands of Saban. Hasbro, by looks of things, have been doing their homework, and they're all, okay, let's see what we can get. Let's give them the product that's good.
And
if it passes, consider it penance for giving Michael Bay any liberties for previous movies.
And to be fair, people had been wanting to see Austin St. John back in his career-making role for more years than I'd care to mention, because, you know, I'll give the man his props. He went off to actually, what he said was, be a real hero in his eyes by going off to be a member of the armed forces and actually being a paramedic because he wanted to go out and help people. He comes back to the US, and there are people that get introduced to Power Rangers via Netflix, where the adults that were kids when they saw him originally, their kids are coming up to him and saying, "Are you the original Red Ranger?" And he says that just puts like a massive smile on his face that a new generation is introduced to Jason now. So he finds that incredibly rewarding. And to be fair to Austin, he's aged well.
And the paramedic and military life has kept him in good shape.
Yeah.
The thing that I find that makes Austin a little bit more likable than JDF, and when I say this with objectivity. I still love me some Tommy, but Austin St. John is a little bit more chill and humble, whereas I feel like at times with JDF he tends to get high off his own steam.
Yeah.
I love the guy, don't get me wrong. Because he is Power Rangers.
Mary!
But
he's hiding under my little makeshift desk I have my laptop on and pawing at my hand.
Navi, if you can hear this, ma 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 mow, ma 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 mow, ma 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 mow.
He pulls out a knife. What'd you say about my mother, bitch?
No, that's translation. Navi, let's just be a good kitty, and if you're really good, Mama will give you treble gushy treats. How about that? He's like,
I don't know why he's being so moody right now. I fed him the minute I got in the door.
imagine look, I was like, Mother.
It's not enough.
Imagine looking up to.
I require my lasagna.
God damn it, do not turn my cat into Garfield. I know he has the colors of Garfield, but he's not Garfield.
I'm sorry, Win.
I can imagine looking up to Win. Like,
Win will remember this.
I can imagine looking up to Win and just going, Mother, are you really going to give me treble gushies?
Only if you're good.
Mao. Alright. Mao. Mark Hamill sucks. Go to your room, young man.
Mark Hamill sucks, Mom. I'm putting you up for adoption. We're done.
You're gonna have a 10-minute timeout in the bathroom, young man.
Okay. Based on Stephanie Beatrice being out of the running, are they likely to go for Gina Carano now?
I hope so.
God, I hope so.
I would be okay with that.
Based upon the fan art that's popped up, definitely would be interesting. Although, I don't, I wouldn't be against the idea, like I say, of them casting an unknown, in the same way that they cast Christopher Reeve as Superman, Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I mean, Andrew Garfield was technically unknown before he did Spidey, even though he had gone over quite well with 500 Days of Summer and The Social Network. I don't know. I think it ultimately just choose the right actress for the right role, and who knows? Maybe they'll get to a point where they can kind of do a Michael J. Fox, where they're able to have Stephanie do days where she only does Brooklyn Nine-Nine and then does, say, half days during the week and film She-Hulk at the weekend. I mean, right, it's probably unlikely that will happen, but it's a way of trying to possibly fill that gap. Just don't get Ronda Rousey to do it. She has the figure and the potential build to be She-Hulk if she was allowed to bulk up, but her acting chops could use a lot of work, and that's being nice.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, she's no Dwayne Johnson or John Cena.
She has the acting chops of a wet sock.
Let me put it to you this way. Who's struggling to remember this actor's name. He was the one who played Marcus in Terminator Salvation.
Sam Worthington?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington's a better actor than her.
Ooh.
Yeah. The only thing that I can say positively for Rhonda, and this is being nice, one, being a competent athlete, and two, she works good. She works good as as a model for photography. That's being nice, because she's not. She's just not a good actress. I mean, crying out loud, when Megan Fox makes you look bad, that says something. And Megan Fox is one of the worst, but give her material that she can work with, i.e. the Ninja Turtles, and she can actually churn out a result. But
Speaking of Ninja Turtles, has anyone seen photos of Ninja Turtles with Power Rangers?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
And Power Rangers as Ninja Turtle style gear.
With
yeah.
With the Shredder as the Green Ranger. Yeah, I think IDW have found their new decent crossover because they've done 3 crossovers with the Ninja Turtles and Batman, which, by the way, I'm waiting for the sequel with the movie. But to see the Ninja Turtles with Power Rangers, maybe that will lead to another crossover movie.
Yes, please.
Although
I need it.
Although,
like given how far more, given how much Hasbro loves making animated adaptations, I can totally see them wanting to do an animated Power Rangers in some way, shape, or form in the future, in the near future.
I know Austin St. John has said in an interview about a year ago he was either in the process of doing an animated version of Power Rangers, or he just finished on doing something animated with Power Rangers, but he wouldn't elaborate any further. Now this either tells me that they're doing an animated Power Rangers movie, or they're doing the Power Rangers Justice League crossover, because I would really like to see that done as an animated movie.
Makes sense. When you
Go on.
When you sign an NDA, you do have to stay vague as possible.
Because I'm gonna be intrigued to see who they get to voice as Bat, and him just being this eternal grump whilst in the mastodon dinosaur.
No, let's make it Troy Baker. Let's bring him back for that.
Roy, yes. Gib.
All I ask with regards to the other voice actors, particularly on the Justice League side, number one, you have Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Because that's the most iconic one. And make sure you have Tim Daly as Superman.
Of course.
Or George
If you think
Newbern.
Tim,
That
George
would be
Newbern.
okay. Yeah.
Newburn's not bad, but let me put it this way. I'm 50-50 with Daly and Newburn, but I lean towards Daly.
Fair enough.
That's why I said if they can't get Tim.
Mm.
And if they can't get either, then for those who have heard him in Crisis on Two Earths, I would get Mark Harmon.
Ooh.
Yeah. As for the Power Rangers, just try and get back as many of the original cast members as you can. I mean, for Trini, they'd have to find a very, very good sound-alike to Tweed Trang, because unfortunately,
Christina V.
yeah,
I could see Christina V do it. She's amazing as Sailor Mars.
Yes.
and it would be the first time probably since Power Rangers Turbo we would have seen Amy Jo Johnson in any form of Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Shut up, phone.
I want you to go to sleep.
Who needs sleep?
Not sleep, but not dead.
Also, like WWE's popularity at the moment.
Zing.
Although, Stephen raises a good question. Who would voice Lord Zed?
Ooh, that's a good question.
There's a
Does the original voice actor still do stuff?
I think he passed away a
He
while
did.
back.
Oh,
He
okay.
did.
Darn.
You would have to
I remember he was going to be part of that fan film that never came out.
Damn.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ron Perlman's a possibility. He definitely kind of has that villain chops.
Steve Blum could also do it. So, like, if I'm thinking of like Amon from Korra season 1.
Or
Steve
if
Blum.
you heard how sinister he can get with his share of villains he's voiced in video games, and recently as Endeavor in My Hero Academia, I say maybe give Patrick Seitz a go.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, particularly if they got JDF as the Green Ranger, have someone keep an eye on him so he doesn't get a little too into it. I know he looks after the Green Ranger character very protectively, because he still wants to be able to do either a Green Ranger series or a PG-13 Green Ranger movie, which that would be interesting to see how that could be done.
Yeah, that's right. That whole Kickstarter project.
Oh yeah, White
Oh, yeah,
Dragon,
I forgot
wasn't it?
about
That what it's called?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That,
And for some reason,
that
Did that ever come out?
That Bat in the Sun production.
I do have another good voice alternative if they can't get JDF behind the mic for it.
Hmm?
Billy Kometz. He was the protagonist. He was the protagonist in Promare. He was Josuke in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamonds Are Unbreakable. He's now Fumi in Rising of the Shield Hero.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
My replacement, I would probably give it to Matt Hill, who voiced Ed from Ed and Nettie, and Ryo from Ronin Warriors.
Huh. One, if they were able to get into.
Oh wait, another good one would be if they don't want it that hammy. Kirby Morrow.
Yeah? Yeah, I do like Kirby, especially with his portrayal of Goku. And of course, he uses the same voice as Scott Summers in X-Men Evolution.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I just find his his portrayal as those characters, it felt like it gave something new.
Yeah, and you can tell he put effort into the voice because I've watched a voice interview of him in Electric Playground, and my reaction was, "Holy crap! You sound totally different when you're talking with your normal voice."
I mean, he once reached out to Sean Schemmel saying, "Hey, I play Goku," and he goes, "No, I play Goku. You're not Goku. I'm Goku." I'm like, "Okay, dude, chill out."
I remember showing you that link of him kind of throwing that shade, going, "Well, you might as well." That's like Michael. That's like Michael Keaton telling Christian Batman.
Yeah, the
only difference is Keaton doesn't mind.
Oh!
Well, here's the thing. Both of them are Batman. The only difference is one of them was actually better.
Yeah, and from what I understand about Kirby is, from people who've met him, he's purely down to earth, cool. He's very humble, very chill. Not that the other adaptations of Goku aren't. I can understand getting a little diva with the role because it's a very popular and iconic character. But so far, nothing but good things about Kirby.
Yeah.
Can't say about anyone else except maybe that Ian Corlett liked the role for a while, but he wanted to try to move past voicing anime characters.
Well, it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, valid.
Or another one that they could have gotten to voice Tommy. They could have gotten Scott McNeil.
Ooh, I see it.
Yeah.
I could see him using his duo pitch.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, and
But that's probably my personal bias. 'Cause aside from duo is best Gundam boy. Changed my mind.
I think the characters I find, I don't want to say relatable, but probably the most endearing and the ones you tend to root for the most. I think I found, something engaging with Wu Fei and Hiro Yui, because the two of them seem to have like a very similar mindset to each other. The only difference is Wu Fei approaches things from a very methodical and a very philosophical mindset, whereas Hiro Yui is shoot first,
fucking insane.
yeah, shoot first, ask questions later.
Psycho Soldier.
Yeah, I never got it with the first episode where he just washes up on the beach, causes that explosion on his suit, then suddenly gets up. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Or the time when you just rip an invitation.
Yeah.
Came out there really and was like, "I'll kill you."
50 episodes later, and he never did. Damn it!
Probably. That's what happens when you have no normal social interaction with people.
And you can tell he's at a new level of crazy because he ever rarely did any shouting. You're on a new level of crazy where you're doing everything low key and very calm and very.
He's just standing there menacingly.
Menacing.
Menace.
So, I just realized another good alternative for Zed if they couldn't get Patrick Seitz or anyone along those lines. Brian Drummond.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, combine a bit of his Ryuk with his Zex Marquis.
Oh shit, that was him? Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, and if you've seen Vision of Escaflowne, which was an OG Isekai meets Mecha, he was Alan Shazal.
What about Samuel Vincent?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Samuel Vincent, I could see him as being voicing a ranger character.
And also because I still can't get over this to this day that he's the one doing Sonic's singing voice in Sonic Underground. That's so weird.
Hearing him in various adaptations, especially as a run-in Gundam Seed, I could see him being a passable Billy if they couldn't get in contact with David Yost.
Ooh.
Because, while people might like to try to forget Voltron Force from 2010, he was a decent Pidge.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I kind of followed that series for a while because I thought, okay, it's not too bad. The ending kind of disappointed me, but it wasn't too bad. And then my hopes were rekindled with Voltron Legendary Defender and the rewrites and adaptations of that. But given that's a whole different canon, I'll stop from there. I don't want to derail the topic too badly. So back to Power Rangers.
Sonic's singing voice. Why does Sonic have to sing? It's just like
Because it was the 90s and every show had to have singing in it. Remember Donkey Kong?
I think the only song that ever grew on me to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to record this was the last ever one they had in episode 40, which was Don't Let Your Guard Down. I think that was the only one where I thought, okay, that one's actually not bad.
Ooh, I just thought of a perfect substitute for Zordon. Buildings 5. I'd say go with Richard Epcar.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Especially if his portrayal of Bato is anything to go by.
Yep. He was Bato, he was Myotis Mon, he was the older take on Joseph Joestar. Or as Andres and I like to reference a lot, oh my god!
Yeah, it's probably the best sort of voice actors that you could probably get if the original voice actors were not able to return. Although I could see Walter Jones coming back because he still has great love for the series, and I don't know what it is about that guy, but he has not aged. Although David Yost, he's seen better days. Also, what happened to him that made him walk off the set? Guys, really? That's scummy. And from what I understand, he he didn't seem to enjoy working with Jason David Frank at some stage, because one video that was released years ago was like in between takes, and you can actually see David Yost actually sneering at Jason David Frank with the way he was mugging the camera. He's like, I'm the Green Ranger, I'm the Green Ranger. And he's just giving this look as if to say, will you calm the fuck down already? Because he was hyperactive back even then, which you'd think he would have calmed down as he's gotten more distinguished, but apparently not. Then there was that weird thing he was on, like an MTV series at one stage where, how do I say this without giving Lids nightmare fuel and without making Navi put his paws on his ears? He was on a sex comedy show.
Who?
Jason David Frank.
Okay. That's news to me.
Oh, yeah. Stephen Walker said, was it undressed? Yeah, it was undressed. Where at one stage, his female interest offers him a ring, and not a wedding ring.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm clicking off this now. I was like, nope. Don't get me wrong, he was going full ham in some scenes as well, as he's often known for, but...
I was going to say, when doesn't he go full ham?
That was the point where I'm just like, no, I'm not watching any more of this.
Hey, you gotta get work somehow.
Oh, apparently, according to Steven, his episode was with the Yellow Wild Force Ranger. Damn.
You cut out there.
He said his episode was with the Yellow Wild Force Ranger.
Huh.
I know the actress who played Maya in Lost Galaxy ended up doing a few interesting acting projects after her exit from Power Rangers. She was the one who played the nudist foreign student in Not Another Teen Movie.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only thing I will probably end on, because I feel like we're pretty much all tuckered out. I will say for Win, the Sonic movie was worth every single penny.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing nothing but good things about it.
There's two scenes in particular that are actually quite heartwarming. The ending, which has already been spoiled on YouTube, where he walks up into the attic and sees that they've transferred all of his possessions from his cave up into that room, effectively welcoming him into their family. Excuse me. And the other is at the motel scene after he's just, worn himself out and gone to sleep. Tom actually looks at his bucket list, and the only item that's not crossed out is where it says, and I quote, to make a real friend. And like I say, it's actually weird to see Sonic portrayed in this way, but then again, it's a different new and an intellectual property for Paramount to have their own take on it, and yeah. So,
and again, it's that Hollywood thing of making a character more sympathetic and relatable to the audience.
True.
I'm kind of glad they went with an endearing approach instead of relying on just half-assed gag writing.
Or
yeah, exactly.
Or another
I'm gonna ride my skateboard, dude.
Or another rendition of Baldy McNose hair. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that he has to have some level of snark to him to live up to the moniker as being the hedgehog with attitude, but there's having attitude and there's being an asshole.
And there's attitude, and then there's baditude.
Kaiju corner now.
They gave him the best. They gave him the best of both worlds, so it's kind of nice to see that they're respecting the property, and in doing so, it's currently the best video game adaptation movie out there so far.
And
But is it better than Rampage, though?
That's a matter of opinion, even though I will say I loved every minute of Rampage. I don't care what anyone says.
Damn right.
And also, George the Gorilla. What the hell?
Oh, God.
I just love it where he keeps flipping the bird. He goes, I never should have taught you that. I like it at the end where he's asking, are you and her friends? He goes, we are just friends. Yeah, we're friends. And then he's doing the hand gestures.
Yeah, when I saw that, I nearly choked on my soda I was drinking. I was like, oh, God damn it!
It's so stupid, but I love it.
And he's just like, oh, what the hell? Show some class. And he's just also
You're asking for class in a movie based on a video game that includes farting and vomiting.
And all George is thinking is, oh, will you two get it on already?
Now kiss.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, and apparently, take this with a pinch of salt, when apparently they're trying to get The Rock as Knuckles.
I'd watch it.
I mean, I'd say they're missing out on an opportunity for the joke. Have The Rock be the president.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd be satisfied either way.
Wynn may or may not agree with this. The only one who I think should play Knuckles in any future voiceover now, one simple name, Crispin Freeman.
He would be a good one, or if you could get him back, Travis Willingham reprise his role, but...
Ooh, that'd be good, yes.
Him and Laura do a lot of voice work in LA now, and now they have a teeny little baby of their own. Yeah, and I didn't realize that until I was kind of watching small snippets of Critical Role where Laura would be on the phone with Travis during sessions she couldn't be a part of.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it was shortly after she had the baby. So, no worries, folks. They didn't leave their Sonic roles because of any weird scandals or anything. They just are making a family. And have voice work closer to home.
And they're playing tabletop RPG.
Oh, yes. And Sam Riegel containing almost as much ham as Mark Hamill.
I mean, it's in the name.
Very true. Very true.
To answer to Ultra Shrekky's question, Baldy Muck what? It's a really sorry. It's a really bad nickname that originated from Sonic Colors, where Sonic was repeating something that one of the other characters said, where they referred to Robotnik as Baldy McNosehair, and it's just like, yeah, it was cute in 2010. Now it's just like, ugh. He says, what about Matt Smith as some of the animated characters? I mean, fast talking can be his business. Yeah.
I can see that.
Like I say, well, I don't know about you, but I'm just running off reserves now, and tickly throat is slowly starting to kick in, so if it's all the same with you, I think I'll call it a day. Also because I want to get started on voiceover work for the next review, which, by the way, Win, if you can get me your voiceover by no later than Thursday, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, that can work. I have tomorrow off, so I can read off that particular line, no problem.
Let's just put it this way. I've got something in mind for the next review that's going to be coming for Monday. So basically, between now and Friday is just going to be an all-on assault to get this one done, because I'm not running over my deadline dates again. Something that pretty much happened last year. I just thought, all right, let's line out the schedule with what movies you want to review, pick the dates, and stick to them. And because of the fact that Thunderbirds is now done, I've now got time opened up to where I can actually focus a little bit more on other projects. Dan's asking, what are my thoughts on the rumors of Matt Hardy joining AEW? I didn't even know there were any rumors.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this.
Well,
I'm thinking it's a work, and I think he'll resign. I don't know, but I don't know. It would be cool.
Rumor is he's supposed to be the new leader of the Dark Order, which is completely stupid. I'm sorry, I don't complain about AEW that much, but yeah, that storyline's really dumb.
The other thing, it opens up the possibility for it might mean the return of Ask the Knight. The only reason I haven't been doing that lately is because not enough people are bringing questions in, because you know the rule, one question per person on the Q&As, because otherwise it looks like I'm showing favoritism, and that's not what I do anymore. So I only do Q&A videos when I've got the material and if I've got the time and the energy to work with, because I've found ever since I started putting more effort into the movie reviews, they do tend to get a lot more positive feedback, which is what I'm looking from it. And like I say, because Thunderbirds is pretty much done and dusted, I'm going to be putting my energy into something else, because I forget who said this, but I believe this holds water. When one door closes, another one opens.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when me and Oni and Elman decided to call it time on RDR again in 2016 after WrestleMania 32. Oh god, that year was terrible, because we knew it wasn't going to get any better, so we just thought, stuff it, let's move on. And this time, it wasn't just me who ended it. Oni wanted out as well. And to be fair, I think that did us the world of good, because he's going off doing streaming on Twitch and he's doing very well for himself. And, well, Elman got whatever sanity he had left for himself. Not that he had much to begin with. I mean, he was reviewing TNA.
I was about to say.
Oh, and we gave our thoughts on the Bellas being inducted earlier. When I'll send you over the.
When I'll promise you this, you might go back to the video 3 or 4 times like I did.
Oh.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Also, Oni, if you're gonna check this out, I'm sorry I gotta do this to you, but my favorite part of that movie was like, why couldn't it be that Mickey? Why couldn't that Mickey fucking kids? I'm like, bruh. I died.
Video by saying, "Are you okay?" Which was a stupid question, but
if I'd have been there, I would have been like, so, are you going to be watching that segment of The Hall of Fame? MJ, you better shut your fucking mouth.
Oh my god.
I know we should be laughing, but his rage is something else.
No.
I knew the second they revealed that news, I'm like, oh god, he's gonna lose it. He's gonna lose it. And I was right. I was right.
To answer your question, Oni, it couldn't be Mickey because she has too much dignity, self-respect, and probably didn't offer under-the-table services to whoever's in charge.
Ooh.
You get my drift.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I could be dangerously leading turns turning into Femoni here.
Wait. Oni as a feminist.
Mental images.
I meant in terms of attitude, I'm not that kind of transformation.
Oh
I assure you.
Oh
I
god.
plan on keeping my current appearance.
I'm imagining Oni with the red glasses and the wig now. Oh god.
Why did you do that to yourself?
Maybe I'm a self-masochist and I'm secret
Yes,
about
no.
it. Oh. Ugh. That's when I love you, but what the hell?
Just bring back an old inside joke from season 1.
No, for kids.
Next minute, you're gonna be Trekkie. You're better off not knowing.
It's for the best. It's for the best. As I said, very old inside joke from season 1. Pay no mind.
I mean, Oni as a feminist, like painting Elman as a kind, serene, and very, devotee religious person. And
Bullshit.
Oh no!
And he would probably walk up to like, MJ, I would never do anything so unwholesome. It's like, you're always unwholesome. I know.
But man, when he goes on one, he really goes on.
Especially
Elman can really rant.
Especially if it involves Heath Slater.
L-Man still needs his plushie.
And on that note, before we ramble on even more, I have been the Knight. Good night from the Knight.
Good night.
See ya.
Oh.
Be sure to buy my comic, Primal Warrior Dracozool #1 on Amazon.
Buy his stuff.
Buy it,
Got it.
read
Yeah.
it, love it, share it.
Buy his comic. Stay tuned for future updates on the Glue podcast.
We'll see you next week.
Good night.